Hello, everybody, and welcome to another film podcast episode. Now, this episode is very special, and I'm glad to doing this new podcast series. That is a new one that I'm because I have been doing some Godzilla, Kong, and Gamera podcast episodes lately, and some other standalone films as outside of kaiju. But this time, I'm going to be talking about dinosaurs, some classic ones, and and so I'll be talking about one of my favorite childhood dinosaur films of all time from 1993, Jurassic Park, directed by Steven Spielberg and based on the novel by Michael Crichton. And I'm really looking forward to doing this episode. It's and I'll be doing all the five other and all other five films since the new one, Jurassic World Rebirth, is going to be coming out this summer in July. That I thought maybe, hey, why not do a podcast series to talk about the classic Jurassic Park films, including the world ones. And so this is Jurassic Park Cast. Get it? Park Cast. So we have two special guests here for tonight. So hold on to your butts, because the first guest we have on here, please welcome back to my buddy here, Nathan from Monster Island Film Vault. How are you doing, buddy?
You just warned people to hold on to their butts because I am here. I can't top that.
What? It's a Clefus reference.
I guess
film.
that's what I'm saying. It's just that you are the only person who has ever worn.
Oh yeah. So also we have another guest on here for tonight. So please welcome back to Daniel from the Godzilla Novelization Project. Hey, Daniel.
Hey, everybody. How's it go? Wait a minute.
Alan.
What happened again? Sorry. Hold on.
Come on. Show your face, Daniel.
Oh, no. This is my face. This is my good side.
Nice tries.
Alan.
All right.
Daniel, there you are.
Hey, what's up? That's
Long
what sleep deprivation does to your sense of humor.
Yeah. I gotta say, long time no see, Daniel.
Yes.
It's been a long while since you've been on my podcast, and yeah, I can remember the last time I had you.
Anybody's podcast. This is my my grand return. Here we go. I ruined my setup for the bit. Hang on. There we go. It was not worth it. I promise you. Okay, there we go. Hi, what's up? I have not done a podcast or a live stream in probably 5 or 6 months.
Wow.
But
I gotta say, welcome back.
Which is saying something, because you were dominating season 4 of MAFV there for a while.
But I recorded all that stuff in like 2014, and it just took you forever to get it out. So like,
something like that. By the way, did you appreciate my Jurassic Park reference for you? Jurassic Park 3 reference when you were doing your bit?
Actually, I didn't hear it. What did you say?
I said, Alan.
Oh, so I didn't hear that. If I'd heard that, I would have laughed. I'm laughing right now.
Yeah, and the guesses are in the comments right here. So there's Edwin Gonzalez.
Hi, Edwin. Yeah. Edwin Gonzalez. He's one of my biggest
fans. And Kaiju Kim. Hey.
Kim. We love you, Kim. We love you, Kim. Everyone, please go. Please go support Kim's. It's not a GoFundMe. Is it a GoFundMe?
It's a GoFundMe.
It's a GoFundMe. Yeah.
Yeah. Kim needs our help. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. And I wish I could have, and Kim, I wish I could have you back on my show someday in the future for a future episode.
Give her space, man.
Yeah.
Give her space.
Oh yeah. And we have Garrettine Riddle.
Garrett Riddle.
And it's nice to see you too. And with Jurassic Rebirth with the Set C and the D-Rex, and
they're calling it what, a D-Rex? We haven't even seen the new movie yet, man. It's not even.
Yeah, it won't. It doesn't come out till July. That's why I'm doing this podcast series to talk about all 6 Jurassic films.
Well,
in a separate episode.
I was gonna say there's gonna be 7 in 2 months.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm going to talk about 6 films before the 7th film comes out.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, yeah, but
go chase that YouTube algorithm, man.
Yeah. So anyway, I love to talk about this original film from 1993. I'm serious. This film what really got me into dinosaurs.
For a lot of people in our generation, that is the case.
Yeah. Even I think after this film, I think I just started to discover some. Yeah, this film what really got me into the fan community of it even before Godzilla.
That's awesome. That's
awesome. And guys, you'll be surprised what I have right here that I have been doing research.
A real raptor?
Well, that's a fake one right here. But
rats.
I've got this book.
Hey,
what is that?
The making
of. Okay.
Yep. I actually got this from Goodwill in one of those books.
That's a really solid Goodwill find.
It's gonna say you got one of the best Goodwills.
There's a beautiful quote from Spielberg about Godzilla in that book.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I got this book. I almost forgot that I still have this, and I thought I would show it to you guys. And
thank you for sharing it. Actually, I have a prop. I have a cool prop. This is my childhood copy.
The VHS copy.
Yeah, this is a very well-worn copy. I am exactly so. Fun fact: this film is. I like to tell people it came out the same year I did. I'm a '93. I'm a '93 baby, so I am exactly as old as Jurassic Park, which is kind of crazy to think about. The fact.
Oh, so this was your birth film.
This was my it came out a few months after I was born. It came out I'm not going to try to do the math. So I know I'm not going to try to do the math. I'm a February baby. So I was a few months old when it existed. And thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
And I want to say to you guys, I want to start off with how we first discovered this film and talk about our fan community with this classic. Like, I mean, Daniel, so I know you went first, so why don't we finish where you left off?
Okay.
How this film came out 4 months? Was it before or after your birth?
It's about 4 months, if Marchand's math is right, after my birthday. I did not see it at that point, clearly, and even if I had, I probably wouldn't have remembered much being in camp. But that's the one thing I didn't bring with Doritos. But everybody, this is what I try to tell people my life story. They grab Doritos and then they leave. This is just my
oh, go ahead. I'm listening.
So,
this has never happened to me before. Of grabbing food during a podcast.
I was gonna say, what are you doing?
That was definitely a bit.
I was gonna say, is there a bit? I was waiting for the bit.
You guys want some? Okay, here.
Oh, thank you. I'll just
sure.
They were a gift from Dennis Nedry.
Oh. Gosh, I hope he didn't sit on him. I could just imagine him doing that too. Anyway, yeah. So,
my God, I mean, I have started to stop you right there. If I was made you appear on the screen as greeting you, I should have done something like this. Daniel, we got Daniel here. See, nobody cares.
I get that every day when I walk into my office. It's fine.
I should have done this classic reference.
No, that would have been funny. It's all good though. It's all good though. We'll probably work in a couple of. We'll probably work in a couple of other references as we go along.
That's because this movie has become just a meme machine in the age of the internet.
I guess.
So, sorry, continue.
When in the world did I probably would have, I saw this very young. I don't think it was my first dinosaur movie. I it was definitely early. I have very early memories of having watched this film in a hotel room during some kind of family vacation by Nathan. And I'm going to assume he can still hear me. He can still hear me. Okay, so I was very, very young when I saw this. Young enough that there were a lot of scenes I skillfully hid my eyes behind my fingers to avoid some of the sequences because they scared me. That's how little I was. It's a scary movie. But I'm fairly confident that the first time I ever watched the film was probably on this exact copy, however many decades ago now. It's crazy, 30 plus years. It's probably not been exactly 30 years since I saw it, but I mean, what can I say? I was 2 when this film came out. I could probably recite the film from start to finish. Me too, Kevin.
I love how you quoting her comment just flowed right into what you said. So it sounded like you were suddenly 2 years old instead of 4 months.
Oh man. Yeah. I wish I had a more concrete timeline in my brain for when I saw it, but when I saw it is not nearly as important as how I felt watching it. And we'll definitely talk about that as we go through, but it was around the time, it was, what child doesn't love dinosaurs, right? I mean, dinosaurs are just this amazing thing. And round about the time that this film was this was really the beginning of this huge wave of dinomania that was starting in the 1990s.
Really yeah. I mean, it was always there because, you look at, really Lost World, the original King Kong, going forward, there were dinosaur movies everywhere and all that. But one of the things that, and you hinted at it, I have the special edition Blu-ray of this, and Spielberg, one of the interesting things he said on there was that dinosaurs have the pull and seduction of mythology, as he put it, but they're real.
Yeah, the thing that always has attracted me to dinosaurs in general is that they are a perfect literal intersection between reality and fantasy. They are both dragon and animal. They are both reality and they are fiction. And they walk that line, but they were real. And I think that Jurassic Park, the original film, captures that in a way that no other film did. Growing up, this film was in regular rotation with Walking with Dinosaurs, which was a documentary. For anybody out there who might not have heard of it, first of all, if you haven't seen Walking with Dinosaurs, please, I'm begging you, go watch it. It's beautiful. Before they remake it, the remake comes out this year. But go watch the original, for crying out loud.
They're remaking documentaries now.
Yeah, we're that out of ideas.
Wow.
The original, the original Walking with Dinosaurs, this is a tangent, I won't stay on it, but it's old enough that there's a lot of science that's outdated, and they've made a lot of new discoveries, and it's due for them to try it again. I'm fine with that. I would love to hear Kenneth Branagh narrate it again. That's a tangent. Jurassic Park. There's really, if I were to make a list of films that jumped out of the screen when I was a little kid and just burrowed right into my DNA in a very profound way that's affected me every day since, this is one of those films. I'm certainly not unique in that. There are certainly a lot more people on the planet who will tell you that about Jurassic Park than they will about Godzilla, although that is true for all 3 of us here, for Godzilla as well, but that's still, as big as it is, more niche. This is a film that impacted me in a way it literally impacted millions and millions and millions and millions of people. My story is not particularly unique, but it definitely just hit me. Every single aspect of the film hit me, from the believability of it to the terror to the awe to the music to everything. All stuff we'll touch on, but it was, as a child, and remains to this day, one of the most important films in my life. And it always will be.
Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts about you just first discovered this film, Daniel. And I want to start off with me. I'm definitely looking forward to talk about my childhood, of how I first discovered this film and my fan community of this. Okay, so before Godzilla, Kong, and other kaiju stuff, I'm really into the fan community. Before that, Jurassic Park is what got me into the fan community in the first place. Jurassic Park was my first fan community of the franchise from my childhood. even like I don't know. I think before Jurassic Park, I was really into dinosaurs when I was a kid. But before the film, I discovered other dinosaurs films. I mean, there are cartoon ones such as Land Before Time and this film called We're Back, a Dinosaur Story.
Good one.
Which was released in the same year that Jurassic Park came out. I think a few months after.
It was pretty close. It was around about that time that the ABC distributed Jim Henson Dinosaurs series was playing, the sitcom, which is brilliant. I love that show so much.
Not the mama.
Not the mama. Oh
Not
yeah.
the mama.
Oh yeah. It's so beautiful. I love that show. But it was all within a couple of years. Dinosaurs everywhere.
And what Jensen really says, like, what he said is kind of true. I mean, what he said is actually what happened to me. I mean, I think also before the film, I think during that, I mean, I did play this cool dinosaur computer game called 3D Dinosaur Adventure. I used to play when I was a kid, and when I was a kid, I always like go out play that game on my old computer. I don't know if you don't know this game.
I want to make sure they didn't change the title and I'm not thinking of something else. You're a Parasaurolophus named Rolf and you're trying to rescue dinosaur eggs from a T-Rex.
That is incredibly specific, sir.
Yes, well, I played a game called Dinosaur Adventure 3D as a kid, and that was the plot. So I'm making. There might be two different games with similar titles, and I'm not sure.
Okay.
Okay, there are two different ones.
Okay,
I mean,
then I probably
let me do a little bit of research. Keep talking.
That are shared almost the same title, but there's like reverse. The game there are two games I usually play. One is called 3D Dinosaur Adventure, and the other is called Dinosaur Adventure 3D.
That's the one I played. That's the one.
So,
okay.
Dinosaur Adventure 3D. That's the one with the Parasaurolophus talking of the animation. Yeah, yes. That's the game I was talking about. And the other one is 3D Dinosaur Adventure, which is it's like you go into that one section of the game is you just watch some movie clips. And including a little bit of stock footage from Ghost of Slumber Mountain. It shows share voice, cartoon voice.
For that game, they dubbed over these really silly voices with Slumber Mountain footage, which I discovered years and years later. A very dear friend of mine sent this to me out of context like years ago, and I was like, dude, what is this? And he had to explain. He's like, you don't know what this is? And he had to explain to me that this was from a video game, and I'm like, what's wrong with the Slumber Mountain footage? Why does it sound funny? But yes, I am familiar.
Anyway, so after I played the films, I mean, I did watch Jurassic Park. I mean, and both Jurassic Park and The Lost World. I mean, and to be honest, guys, I mean, yeah, I was really into The Lost World Jurassic Park than the original film. To be honest, I was kind of afraid of the original film.
It's scary.
Because I think it's because of the one scene I don't like is the Dilophosaurus. The Dilophosaurus scene when he was
very tense scene.
The scene when he was spread his wings and it spit venom. Yeah, I mean that scared the heck out of me when I was a kid. And then I really got into the Lost World film more than the original, and then a few years later, I mean, I started to give the original film a try, and then when I watched the Dilophosaurus scene, I mean, when I watched it, I mean, it may not be as scary as I thought it was, but I'm not afraid of the Dilophosaurus scene. And the more I watched the original, the more I got into that film so much. The more I fall in love with this film, and I'm starting to collect some Jurassic Park toys, and even after The Lost World, I mean, I mean, those two films, Jurassic Park and The Lost World, I've never seen those films in theaters. I mean, Jurassic Park was 3 years before I was born. but The Lost World was the year after I was born.
Yeah, I remember back in the day, Spielberg. I saw a news report talking about The Lost World, and Spielberg said that at that time, anyway, he had only ever had one other movie that had more demand for a sequel. Take a wild guess what it was.
E.T.
Yep, it's the only one he said he ever had that had more demand for a sequel that he made.
And there was a treatment written for a sequel. Don't read it. It's a nightmare. It's terrible.
I'm sure
it would have been. It was literally a horror movie.
Yeah. By the way, you guys talked about two very different games. I have now confirmed. 3D Dinosaur Adventure was 1993, the same year as the movie. The one you were talking about, Danny, Dinosaur 3D Adventure, 1999.
Yep, that lines up with my personal chronology of being alive on this planet. That makes sense.
And so anyway, and the only Jurassic Park film I ever watched in theaters as a kid is the worst film is Jurassic Park 3.
Ouch.
Some would argue Fallen Kingdom isn't that good, but
I will defend. You know what? Actually, that's not true. I love Jurassic Park 3, but I won't defend it because I'm tired of trying to defend things I love from the internet. So I won't defend it. You just have to trust
Alan.
Which I'll explain to that. Which I'll explain why I don't like the third film in the Jurassic Park 3 podcast episode. And when I saw Jurassic Park 3 in theaters, I'll get to that later. I mean, after that, I really got into the Jurassic Park franchise, and even like I remember I have a VHS copy of the original Universal Studios theme park tour, including with the Islands of Adventure, was on its opening day, like of the brand new park that was open when this VHS tour video came out. I don't know if you don't know this Universal theme park tour video. It's a bunch of family with the tour lady who goes around and tell about all the rides in the park. And when I saw that they showed the Jurassic Park the ride, I was so excited. I begged my parents I want to go there to ride Jurassic Park. And yeah, Jurassic Park is like one of my favorite childhood dinosaur films of all time. And this ride really got me into the franchise more, and which I'll explain to him more when we get to the Jurassic Park ride history of like. Yeah, I forgot to mention that not just the film we're going to talk about. We're also going to talk about the original novel, the video games, the ride, and of course the dinosaurs.
Heck yeah, that's a good lineup.
Yeah.
How many people here have been to Islands of Adventure to the Jurassic Park area? Just me. Brenda, did you go? You went? You got to go? Good.
Yeah, I went there so many times.
Yeah, I think I probably went 4 times as a child. And now that I'm an adult and poor, I will probably never go again. But I'm glad I got to go when I was younger. It was really fun. We'll talk about it.
I think I went there like 10 times, but I've been to the one that at Hollywood the original attraction at Hollywood one time, that almost 10 years ago.
Wow, that's super cool. I've not been to the Hollywood one. That's really exciting.
I actually have a photo right here.
Look at that.
Wow.
Yep.
Ah!
That guy in the middle right there with the beard, that's me.
Ah!
Yep. This was from 2016, before the ride was closed. We replaced it with Jurassic World. Yep. Mm-hmm. And the date was right there.
2016. Look at that. Almost like 9 years ago. Or 8.5. Whatever. Something like that.
Yeah.
Your math skills are not working tonight. They are on vacation.
Nothing is. You try working 14 hours straight.
Oh no, I understand why. Trust me.
I got a math. I don't have a math brain anyway, man. You know me.
And let me tell you guys. I mean, so I don't think I ever explained how this before. I mean, I remember when I used to have the DVD collections of Jurassic Park. When I watched the making of Jurassic Park, the one that is hosted by James Earl Jones.
That's a good one.
When I watched this, I know it shows some clips from the original Lost World from 1925 and the original King Kong from 1933 because of what Steven Spielberg mentioned about that his impression for Jurassic Park was King Kong.
I was going to say, King Kong is homaged in the movie with the front gate.
Yeah, and
they brought Fay Ray to the set to visit.
Yeah, Fay Ray, and so I gotta be honest, guys. I don't think I ever mentioned this in my King Kong episode with you guys. I mean, the Jurassic Park is the one who introduced me to the original King Kong.
That's cool.
Yeah, not the 76 one, because that's my very first King Kong film. Yeah, without the making of Jurassic Park documentary video, I would never discover the original King Kong and the Lost World.
Yeah.
That's really special. I tell you what, there was a period of time where documentaries were like A, prolific, and B, a real gateway into that stuff. I never would have gotten into Ray Harryhausen if it weren't for a National Geographic dinosaur documentary from the late 90s that used clips from 1 million BC or 1 million years BC rather. So it's kind of amazing how those little moments in documentaries about something else tangentially lead you to something else that you love eventually. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, this is true. Hey, can I tell my really boring how I found this movie story now?
Sure. I mean, wait. I also want before I get to you, Nathan. I mean, I want to discover how I want to tell you guys how my reaction and expression about they re-released this film in theaters in 3D back in 2013.
And again last year. No, 2023.
2 years ago.
2023, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that I think it's almost the end of my teenage years. I mean, I'm starting to go into my adult years. I was still in this. They released this film in 3D for its 20th anniversary year in 2013. I was actually a freshman that year in high school, and when I heard they were releasing this in theaters, I got so excited and that I want to see this film in theaters in 3D. I actually saw it in IMAX 3D.
That's amazing.
When I saw it with my mom, and after I saw the film, I was like, wow, it's almost like I'm back. I traveled back in time to 1993 to see this film in theaters, but this time in 3D.
That's beautiful.
And I gotta say, the picture quality of the 3D film is so incredible. The quality of it, they added some of the colors on the screen, and it just looks so amazing looking. I mean, it's too bad they didn't add it to the 4K disc. I mean, and I'm glad they re-released this film again in 3D 2 years ago for its 30th anniversary year, and I'm glad I got to see it. And they even remastered more. I think it's the same quality from the 20th anniversary edition, but I think they remastered it in 4K.
That's amazing.
I
missed it both times, so I've actually never seen the film in theaters, and I'd love to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
And
I was probably doing something important, like working or something. I don't know. Whatever.
Isn't that all you ever do?
And I'll never forget when I saw this in 3D in theaters, and I'll never forget the T-Rex scene when he was warring the room shake, and it was loud.
That's amazing. I would love. I mean, I've heard the T-Rex roar in theaters before. I've seen the Jurassic World films in theaters, but like nothing beats how that thing sounded in that first movie. Like the sound is so pure. It's one of the best sounds in film history, the T-Rex roar.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny how they made it too.
Yeah, it's a little that's an interesting story. All the dinosaur sounds are interesting.
Yeah. So Nathan, so you're the last one. So tell us about your experience and how you first discovered this film.
Well, I mean, it was just incredibly ubiquitous when this thing came out. I mean, it was one of the hottest movies really ever at that point. Unfortunately, Mom and Dad didn't let me see it for a while because they thought it would be too much for me. So I ended up having to wait.
You were in your 30s, man. You should have just told them. Like, come on. Okay, that's not a funny joke.
I was going to say I was the best looking 30-year-old ever at that point. I don't know anymore.
You were 3 years old?
That joke doesn't work. Anyway, moving on.
Wait, you said you were... Sorry, I didn't hear you as I was chewing.
No, it was...
I made a really bad joke.
It was a really bad joke about age. But anyway, so I think I saw clips of it everywhere. I was very aware of its existence because it was just culturally ubiquitous. I'm not entirely sure when and where was the first time I saw it. I was still relatively young when I did, and I believe I saw it on TV. And then as I got older, started checking out the sequels, saw everything by the time I was in college. And, but at that point there were only the 3, and then they did the soft reboot with Jurassic World. I did see that one when it came out. So, at a movie theater. So, so it's not all that exciting, but you couldn't have escaped this movie. It was everywhere. Its influence was everywhere. The images were everywhere. Like this movie defined the popular image that people have of dinosaurs now.
Yeah,
I'm glad you told that story. Like, all ageism aside and bad jokes, you're the only one of the 3 of us here that was like either alive or cognizant while the actual marketing was happening. Yeah, which is something that I have no context for personally. I was busy. Yeah,
I mean, it was, like I said, it was everywhere. You couldn't get away from it. And it really kickstarted Dinomania, like you were saying, into hyperdrive. I mean, it was always dinosaurs were always popular, but now it was crazy. There's like dinosaurs before Jurassic Park and after Jurassic Park. That's really how and to be honest, I think probably the dinosaur species that became the most iconic after this, because most of the ones in here is like, oh yeah, we're all familiar with it. That's why when Hammond says we have a T-Rex, everyone's flipping out because everyone knows what a T-Rex is. Mm-hmm. It was the Velociraptor that got catapulted to superstardom at this point, because nobody knew, unless you were a really hardcore dinosaur nerd, nobody knew what a Velociraptor was at that point. That is scary good, I have to I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Sir? What?
I don't know.
If you ever visit Monster Island and make those noises, you might attract a pack.
Yeah, I'm just like my raptor impression.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna wander around I'm gonna come to the island, and I'm just gonna walk up to the enclosure and go and just like see what happens.
Yeah, I mean,
weird pig sounds.
Yeah, when I did that raptor impression sound effect, like from the beginning of the film, it kind of sounds like I'm making a person snoring.
It does sound like a snore. Also, this is complete. Yes, there you go. Well,
like I said, this thing became, once the internet happened, this became just meme gold. Like, it's just so many memes came out of this.
So I want to get to the topics. Like, what do you want to start up with? The actual film, or the talk about the novel, or the dinosaurs, or the games?
The novel came first, so let's talk about the novel.
Yeah, I want to talk about the original novel. I mean,
who here has read it?
Let me be honest, you guys. I've never read the original novel.
Okay, I was gonna say I've read it.
I always left this out in how I first discovered the film. I mean, during my teenage years and in middle school, I mean, I didn't even know there was a Jurassic Park novel.
Have you read it, Danny? I'm assuming you have.
Years ago, and I honestly don't remember if I finished it. It's been 1,000 years, which is approximately how old I was when the movie came out. So
the story has changed.
Yeah, I changed it. I'm just old now. The book is it's interesting.
Jurassic Park is interesting as an adaptation because it's at once close to the novel, but also very different from the novel.
It's like the novel got thrown into a blender with the word whimsy, and they just kind of it's like a little a little more awe, a little more Spielbergian, not like silly whimsy, but just like Spielbergian, almost like that swashbuckling
Spielbergy.
That is a term, sir.
And but the book is like terrifying. It's a techno thriller.
It's a lot different from the film.
I do have a list of the major differences if anyone would like to hear
them. I actually done some research about it, of the differences.
Well then
especially Dennis Nedry's death scene.
I was gonna say you can corroborate a lot of these. So the opening is very different. The opening has a girl who gets killed by compies, which is not in this movie. Am I thinking of this scene or another scene that's similar, but it's in a later movie? I can't.
Well, remember. there are a couple of different. The compies aren't even in movie 1, but they're kind of important to book 1 because they have a really dark opening moment.
Where they kill a little girl.
Was it a baby that
they kill spoiler / sensitivity warning. Dinosaurs do eat an infant in the beginning in this book. And then the death scene that is given to and his name just escaped out of
Hammond.
Not him. Well, Hammond's death scene from the book is transplanted over into the Lost World, and given to Carter. Is that his name?
I haven't watched the sequels in a long time.
The guy who gets eaten by the cops.
The scene from the Lost World.
Kim clarified. Kim for the win over here. So there was a girl in the Lost World.
The first scene of the Lost World. Again, no copies in movie 1, copies in book 1 though, and they give the copies 2 scenes in movie 2 that are basically ripped from the first book,
right?
With a couple of changes. The little girl at the beginning of the Lost World movie does not die; she just gets nipped by dinosaurs. But thankfully, she does not die. And then Hammond's death becomes Carter's death.
Yes.
So
I will get to that. So Hammond. The other thing is that Hammond is very different in the novel. In the novel, Hammond is actually the villain, and he's only in it for the money. Whereas in the movie, Spielberg turns him into one of the quintessential Spielbergian movie characters, which is the lovable grandpa.
I was so surprised when I did some research that Hammond's death was death by compies. Sounds familiar to that guy's death from the Lost World.
And that was meant to be ironic because he's getting killed by his own creation.
There's a very under-discussed Mary Shelley through line. This book.
It's still in the movie. It's
there.
It's just not as dark.
And I got to mention, I mean, there was a little reference in season 3 of Camp Cretaceous when one of the kids mentioned about John Hammond's death. So one of them thought he died from compies, but no, he just died.
I didn't know that. I haven't seen Camp Cretaceous.
Camp Cretaceous has a lot of Crichton Easter eggs in it because the people who wrote that show were nerds. Camp Cretaceous is great, by the way.
It's
really good.
But I haven't seen the new series on Netflix.
Me neither. I actually haven't seen the last season of Camp Cretaceous yet, and I have not seen Chaos Theory at all yet because I can't afford Netflix. So it exists.
Anyway, going back to the list of differences, another major difference is Dr. Grant actually gets along with children, which was changed for this movie.
Because like in the film, Dr. Grant, like in the beginning, he mentioned he doesn't like kids.
Yeah, which becomes his arc for the movie.
Yeah, and then
because he gets stuck with a couple of kids. Speaking of the kids are the same but different. They switch them.
Yeah,
in the novel,
the age difference.
Well, that and their interests. In the novel, Tim is the older sibling and he likes computers, whereas Lex is the younger sibling and likes baseball.
Yes.
So they swap them. Also, spoiler warning, the ever iconic Dr. Ian Malcolm dies. After he gets attacked by dinosaurs in the novel, unlike in the movie, he succumbs to his wounds and dies.
But then
which
he gets
retconned in the next book.
He gets better. It's fine.
Yeah, because Crichton wrote that after the movie came out and became a mega hit, so he just retcons it.
Yeah. And he acknowledges that he retcons it in the actual prose too. He's just like, it's fine. Don't think about it. He's back.
Yeah, it's fine. Dr. Wu, like Hammond, is also much more of a villain and the mastermind of the entire genetic program. Mm-hmm. He's also more involved in the story, and he dies, unlike in this movie. Basically, a lot of people who don't die in the movie die in the book, and a lot of people who die in the book don't die in the movie. It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we talked about Hammond's death. Another thing that is very different is in the novel, the park gets bombed by the Costa Rican military.
They carpet bomb it.
They carpet bomb it to keep the dinosaurs from escaping because it opens with some of the dinosaurs having come to the mainland already, which is why the little girl gets attacked at the beginning.
Yeah.
And that's all. And there's one being studied in a lab, which is how Dr. Grant finds out about the park.
Yes. There's no helicopter champagne stealing kind of shenanigans.
Yeah. And I also mentioned that if you played the Jurassic Park the game on Xbox 360, I don't know if you remember that game, but I used to play that game a lot when I was a kid, and it's not a Jurassic Park shooting game with the gun. It's just
I remember coming across a PlayStation display I think it was a Toys R Us, and there was a Jurassic Park game in it, and you could play as the T-Rex and just go eat people.
Yep. That was a thing. There were quite a few of them. There are a few games where you could play as raptors and switch between raptors and humans. The arcade game is the greatest game ever made.
I have to stop you right there, Daniel. I mean, I know I love to talk about the games, but we'll get to that part later. Let's finish up with the novel.
Anyway, well, those are the major differences. Otherwise, it plays out pretty similar. I will say this. I'm one of those people who does not entirely agree with the book.
I'm so sorry, Nathan. I was saying something earlier in the game, like I know you didn't bring up about the bombing of the island. I mean, in the Jurassic Park the game I played on Xbox 360, in the game they did references and brought up about that this game took place right after or during in the film. It's almost like a sequel and a half. It took place on the same island at the same time, and I think it has 4 episodes that you also known as 4 levels. I mean, I think in level 4, when they're trying to escape the island and we call for help, they did mention they're going to drop a bomb on the island.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's almost like an Easter egg.
Yeah, an Easter egg. But no, just one last thing I was just going to say about the book, and then you guys can talk about it or we can move on, is that I'm not one of those people who completely agrees with the adage the book is always better. I have a short list of ones that where I think actually the movie version is genuinely better. And then another even shorter list where I think it's just too close to call. And honestly, I've added Jurassic Park to that list because as different as the two of them are, the movie is brilliant for its own reasons, while the book is brilliant for its own for other reasons. So I can't really pick one over the other. I think it really just boils down to personal taste and preferences.
Hmm. And
Danny, are you awake? Blink, Danny. Blink.
I am blinking.
Okay.
Am I frozen?
You were just so out of it. I'm like, please tell me he's cognizant.
I'm just sitting here listening to the beautiful mellifluous sounds of your voice. Just
That's a lot. That is a very large word for your for how tired you are.
Mellifluous? I can be more esoteric.
Anyway,
let's
I'm
get back to the verisimilitude.
Yeah. Ooh.
And I want, so I want to talk about that was in the book compared to the film version is Dennis Nedry's death by the Dilophosaurus. I mean, I already did research. I mean, I know in the movie that the Dilophosaurus is almost smaller than a raptor, and then. But in the novel, it's a lot different and a little similar in the film. I mean, that the dinosaur was supposed to be big, almost the size as a Jeep, and Nedry's death was so different than the film that in the novel, and when he was driving his Jeep, that he had to. That instead of has his Jeep stuck in a little waterfall next to the road. Like, there's the road, and he has there was like a wall in front of him, and then he has to get out of his Jeep and walk into the jungle, and he found a river at the end, but he heard a hooting sound, so he went back to the Jeep. Right in front of the other side of the Jeep was the Dilophosaurus that was like bigger than a raptor, and then the Dilophosaurus just spit it on him like 3 times, including on his eyes. I mean, it absolutely blind Dennis, and then the dinosaur just slashed his stomach and all of his testicles. I mean, that's like his guts. All
your intestines. You meant intestines.
Intestines. I mean tenses.
Something came falling out of the guy that shouldn't be falling out of the guy.
I was gonna say, sir, you used the wrong body part, and it made it kind of awkward.
I know.
Sorry.
So
I thought I was saying it right. It's tenses. I mean.
So that moment is not in the movie, but it is referenced in the movie at the beginning.
Yeah, because with Alan Grant was like,
yes,
is mentioned to the kid.
Maybe across the belly, spilling your intestines.
And
you were alive.
Yeah, like his guts and
what a way to go.
Yeah. Now Nedry still gets venom to the face and. And otherwise disemboweled. We just don't see the disemboweling on camera.
And then the Dilophosaurus just bite his head and then lift him in the air, and he just lifts him, and then he's just like a hangman.
Yeah. It's basically the same in the movie. It's just not as gruesome. They just
in the film, the Dilophosaurus just ate him in the car.
And oh gosh, which video game is it? There's a video game. It's a more recent one where they find it's the same night they find the Jeep, and you do get a very brief kind of fuzzy look at what's left of him inside the Jeep, and it's like, oh, the Dilophosaur had a lot of fun after the camera cut back down to that Barbasol can.
Blatant product placement for Barbasol.
Barbasol. the last thing you'll shave your face with before dinosaurs rip your face off.
Yes.
Yes.
Funny enough, they I can't. They actually did a tie-in with that. You could, if you went for a while, they actually had Jurassic Park branding on the cans. I'm like, okay, guys, but that was accidental. It's like we just need a can of shaving cream. So somebody on the movie just went to a store and bought a can of Barbasol. It wasn't a deal or anything.
That's crazy.
And then Barbasol became iconic. I'm sure they raked in loads of money.
I never shave without it anymore, and it's just because of this movie. That's not true. Well, it did instill within a very young me a desire to take a can of Barbasol, cut it up, and make my own DNA container out of it. Now, I remember my parents stopping me. This is a fun Jurassic Park memory. I remember my parents stopping me. I was like, because Dad used to shave with Barbasol, and I took this can, and I'm like, you know what I'm going to do is this is going to be my Jurassic Park can, but I need to figure out how to do the twisty, turny, lifty uppy thing and make it turn into a canister. And that's how I discovered what the phrase "contents under pressure" means. Needless to say,
Daniel, if I don't know if you have a proper the canister.
Not yet. They do make them. They're very expensive. They exist.
Well,
they do exist.
Well, Daniel, if you were planning to give me one as a gift, let me tell you this,
dude.
Don't get cheap on me, Daniel.
Oh, there it is.
That's for Simon.
There it is.
Oh,
that was Hammond's mistake.
Okay.
I just want to say the line.
It's good.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Factory Entertainment is a really great company that makes prop replicas. They've done stuff. I actually own a couple. They're the ones who did the Beta capsule, the Ultraman Beta capsule a few years ago. They did a gorgeous Wolfman cane. And then they've done like the flux capacitor, stuff like that. But a few years ago, they did the Barbasol can that really did unscrew, and it came with little canisters that were labeled with dinosaur DNA names on them. And I'm like, I have to own this. $500? No. Here's $25. Would you? I don't know. I think I'd rather just go and empty out a can of Barbasol and just make my own now.
Yeah. Danny, Kim would like to hear the rest of your Barbasol story.
Oh, I think was that the end of my Barbasol story? Did I?
You ended it with I learned what contents under pressure means.
It was I didn't hurt myself. I did not make an incision into a Barbasol can. The can was taken from me before any incisions could be made, and it was explained to me the horrible things that would happen if I tried to basically cut a hole into a tiny shaving cream bomb. Because if you do that, like, you get hit in the face with shaving cream and shrapnel. And that's probably also where I learned what the word shrapnel meant. So I did not hurt myself. I did not try to turn it into the thing. And I think it got thrown away before I could like scavenge the parts.
However, I'm guessing we do know what you're going for in case you are attacked by real dinosaurs.
Listen, I am not at a loss for things to defend myself around here. I have books, most of them about dinosaurs, that are big enough that I could beat a dinosaur to death with it. But I can absolutely use shaving cream as a Jaws style bomb, which is both fun, dangerous. I guess both multiple things. It is fun, it is dangerous, and it is keeping it on brand with Spielberg.
I was just gonna say, I'm just picturing raptors breaking into your apartment, and you just it's like, oh, remember this? You came from one of these, and you just throw it at him. He's like, ah.
It's all I can think is Men in Black, where I'm just crushing them in my hands. Sorry, was that your auntie? I'm just crunching DNA in my. I guess that means this is your uncle. All of alike, just breaking DNA canisters, making the raptors mad at me. What are we talking about?
I wanted. Oh my gosh! I want to tell you guys how my canister story. I mean.
It's a thing.
Like
everybody wants one.
I mean, before I get into shave, I mean, I did check out the shaving cream kits. I mean, I did found one that looks exactly like from the film. I was like, hey, that's the one from Jurassic Park. I want to buy that one. Even though I try to open the bottom lid. I mean, but it won't.
Nope, nothing but shaving cream in there.
Yeah.
Always
It makes me wonder if someone actually did make like a prop replica that's just a can of shaving cream just to make you feel like that you're shaving your face or whatever with gooey dinosaur bits.
What I want to know is whoever got that pie with the shaving cream on it, did they eat the pie?
Oh, yeah. When Dennis introduced the shaving cream and then he puts it on the pie.
Puts it on the like. Was the pie consumed? Did the person who ate the pie know what they did? The horrible mistake.
They thought. I thought that was like Cool Whip.
Ugh.
I'm pretty sure it would have become very apparent very quickly because I don't think shaving cream is sweet.
No, it's a lot of things. Sweet is not one of them, and edible is not one of them either. Shockingly.
Yeah.
Does
it have a like a warning on them that says call poison control?
Yeah, I was gonna say if you please do not drink the shaving cream like a can of Fresca. Please.
We are legally obligated to say do not consume your shaving cream products.
Yes. Put it on your face, not in your face. Yeah.
So enough about the shaving cream, and I want to talk about the author himself who wrote this incredible book, Michael Crichton. And yeah, when I did the research about how he first wrote this book, I mean, it all takes back to I think 1985, or 86. I mean,
mid 80s.
In the mid 80s, he was still an author at that time. I mean, when he was studying dinosaurs at a museum, he learned heard some random news of scientists are trying to bring back a dinosaur. I think I forgot what it is, but because they discovered some ambers of bugs and who had dino DNA, which said it took them 3 or 5 years to bring a dinosaur to clone a dinosaur, but it never happened.
Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which scientists are still talking about today. Like they still trying to figure out how to bring back a woolly mammoth, which is one of my favorite extinct animals.
Woolly mammoths are actually better candidates for de-extinction, which is an actual thing, than a dinosaur, because there are entire mammoths that exist. We have their genome fully mapped out. We could clone one right now. Yeah. All you'd need, and this is crazy to me, all you'd need is enough DNA to be mixed together. You need an egg, and then you need to put the developing baby into an elephant. And like a mother elephant is a surrogate. And then when the elephant gives birth, it's a mammoth. Like that's a thing that theoretically is possible. The problem with DNA that's older than, 10, 20, 30 million years, 65 to 66 million years for the youngest dinosaur, is that DNA deteriorates over time. And they have attempted to extract, genetic material from bugs in mosquitoes in amber. They've tried it, but they can't get anything out of it. They've actually had better luck getting dinosaur genes from soft tissue preserved in bone, of all things, and skin, but getting it out of blood in a mosquito, sadly, is science fiction. It doesn't work. Right. You can't complete a whole gene, which they acknowledge in the book, that you can't complete the genome with just that. You need frogs.
As I say, that's where the frogs come in.
That's where the frogs get. So it's acknowledged, but
it's the frogs that screw part of what screws everything up.
Listen, it's always the darn frogs, man. The frogs are always messing up theme parks for everybody. I'm telling you. When in doubt, blame the frogs.
Yeah, I mean, they did plague Egypt once. I mean, it's a thing.
Yeah.
And bugs. but no, Michael Crichton was a prolific science fiction author. I think he actually, I could be wrong on I could be wrong, as I'm pretty sure he actually worked in the medical field, which is why his books tend to have a medical bent to them, including Jurassic Park. But I think his first major, I think it was a book originally, but it was the Andromeda Strain from the 70s. He was also a film director. In the 70s primarily, he was the director and I believe the screenwriter for the original version of oh dang it, what is
Westworld.
Westworld, that's what's right. Which is also about a theme park that goes haywire.
Yes, it is.
except in that one, it's robots.
Yeah, and one of them's Yul Brynner, which always makes it better.
Yeah, basically playing his character from the Magnificent Seven.
Yeah,
basically. He's that character in all but name. That's why it's so crazy.
Crichton definitely had an interest in the intersection between science and entertainment and how each can fuel the other and also corrupt the other. If you're going to have this amazing technology, why not turn it into something for the masses? You know what I mean? It's like, you know, you can do all this crazy stuff with recording the world around you. Why not make a movie and put it in theaters? We can make dinosaurs. Why don't we charge people to see the dinosaurs and basically make Disneyland for dinosaurs?
Now Westworld takes a very different angle on the idea because in Westworld it was kind of exploitative. It's like people go in there and they live out their fantasies. Oh, I can be a cowboy and I can shoot all these guys in a bar fight and it doesn't matter because they're robots. Whereas in Jurassic Park, it's come check out these dinosaurs that we created because we can play God.
Yeah, because
and also there's another film that's almost like a reference to Jurassic Park is Carnosaur, which was released in the same year.
Thank you, Roger Corman.
But the book,
it was also a novel.
The book came out first. It came out before Jurassic Park. And there is that theory that Crichton read it. Now, I don't buy that, that he ripped off Carnosaur, but there is a long-standing, like, it's like one of those, it's basically an urban legend. It's not really, there's nothing really to it, but Carnosaur the book came out before Jurassic Park the book, and then Corman got the movie version out right before Jurassic Park came out, within a week, I believe.
Wild.
That's what Corman do.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and I am with Ryan the Omniviewer Collins. Someone do another adaptation of Carnosaur. But be true to the novel and make it good.
The novel, I like the first Carnosaur. It's not a masterpiece.
I've never seen Carnosaur.
It is an interesting film. I recommend watching it at least once, if for no other reason than for the fun special effects. But
it's on Tubi, right?
I don't know. I don't care.
It's not on Tubi, and it sadly that film was only on video cassette and.
No, it's on DVD.
Yeah. You know what? I just wish that it was released on Blu-ray in the future so I can watch it. Hopefully, if Arrow or Shout Factory would release this on Blu-ray.
Oh, well, maybe it is not on Tubi. I thought it was.
I don't know. I don't really know anything about their streaming stuff that y'all kids are doing, but I do know that it has DVDs, and I don't think it's ever been remastered like for anything higher def than that. It went right to video after a very brief theatrical run, and then all the sequels went right to video or television.
Oh yeah, here's the novel. I'm looking on Amazon. Here's the novel by Harry Adam Knight.
Yes. There is also a new book on the whole history of Carnosaur as a franchise that just came out that I'm dying to read. But
it is on DVD. It's stupid expensive, but it's on DVD because apparently it's out of print.
I'd like to see a box set with the three Carnosaur films.
Yeah.
But anyway, add that to your list, Brendan. It's a good time.
Yeah, I would say if some Blu-ray companies like Arrow Video or Shout Factory is gonna release the Carnosaur trilogy on Blu-ray, I mean they should. I prefer Shout Factory.
I was gonna say I think the one to probably do it would be Shout Factory under their Scream Factory label.
They have a really strong relationship. They did have a strong relationship with Roger Corman and actually own a significant chunk of his films outright, just because of the relationship they had with the Corman family and his interests and such. Most of the stuff that you can get from his filmography right now on Blu-ray comes from Shout Factory. So they would be an ideal candidate for a nice restoration of the first film, at least, if not the trilogy. Interesting, almost a footnote for Jurassic Park in a way. Another part of, I don't tend to see it like that though. I tend to see it as another expansion of the Dinomania from the period, just another slightly darker, more messed up version.
But anyway, this is Jurassic Park we're talking about.
Yeah, we gotta get back to.
So we already talked about the novel, and it was so sad that Michael Crichton passed away in 2008 or
too young.
9.
Way too young. Not too many years after Stan Winston died, who did the visual effects, the practical visual effects.
Actually, I think it was relatively close together because the last movie Stan Winston ever worked on was the first Iron Man.
Yeah, and then his crew was doing work on Avatar, but Avatar was gone before Avatar came out, sadly. But it was around the same time. That was 2009.
Yes. Since we already talked about the novel, let's talk about the actual film itself. Yeah. I mean, I know
we should talk about Stan Winston then.
We'll get there. We'll talk about him with the dinosaurs.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the film crew and the film. And I know I brought this up, like as a kid, I watched the first film a lot, and the more I watched it, the more I love it. I mean, and I know I watched it a few times, like morning, day, and night. And even I remember the day before me and my family go on our trip to Florida at the airport, the day before, I remember at night when my mom was packing. I mean, I had put out Jurassic Park on the VHS collection. I did put it on when my mom was packing, and I so excited to watch it before I go on the ride at Islands of Adventure. And I gotta be honest, this film really got me into Universal. That's the film that really got me into the Universal theme parks and the Universal films and the studio.
To me as a kid, like Universal was its own unique brand like Disney was. There aren't a lot of film studios out there that have that unique, at least at the time to me, it didn't seem like they had that unique presence, that unique blend. A lot of them do.
I was to say, it depends on what we're talking about here. I think when you're talking about like creature features, Universal definitely has a branding. I think when you're talking about, say, classic animation, Warner Brothers definitely has a brand. Like when you say Warner Brothers animation, that creates expectations in your mind. Just like when you say Universal Monsters, that creates an expectation in your mind. Now, the advantage, yes, right there. The advantage Disney has is that Disney has done so much stuff that when you say Disney movie, depending on what it is, that creates certain expectations, but also kind of different sets of expectations depending on what it is.
Yeah, but Universal, like when I would remember, like when we were growing up, Disney didn't own everything and the sun, right? So when you said Disney film, it meant there was a little bit less dilution when we were younger than there is now. Now anything could be a Disney movie, a Fox movie, a Marvel movie could be a Disney movie. But Universal's branding and their unique presence in my life, it felt like everything I loved came back to Universal as a kid. Jurassic Park, Back to the Future, E.T., everything just cycled back and looped back in on itself and became Universal. And it, like as a kid, when I saw the planet show up with the names spinning around it, I got very excited. They were my Disney in a lot of ways growing up. So Brendan, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's a really good point. Like this is a good gateway into the magic of Universal. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So much of what I mentioned has Spielberg's name attached to it, because back then Spielberg and Universal had a very tight relationship.
Spielberg is a brand.
Spielberg is a brand. But,
because you say, "Oh, this is a Spielberg movie," that creates expectations.
Yeah, and I mean, there are other Universal films that are family to Spielberg, like Jaws, E.T., the Jurassic Park, and that's all I could think of, and from Spielberg. And
I'm sure if I did some digging, I could find more for sure.
Yeah, and even before the novel was published, that Michael Crichton went Spielberg went to Michael Crichton talk about the novel, and he actually wanted to make a motion picture of the novel before the novel was published.
I think it's because he managed to read it before it got published, and he was like, I need to make a movie of this.
Yeah.
And Crichton did write the screenplay.
Yes.
It's one of the rare times where a novelist gets to write the movie adaptation.
Not all of what he wrote stuck, but
no,
he gave it the old college try.
Yep. And that's the way he did. Also the same time that he wanted to build the ride at Universal Studios Hollywood.
It was all a package deal. He got the movie and the ride and all this stuff in one big thing, and Universal was like, "We want it."
I hope
a lot for Spielberg.
I hope Crichton was swimming in money for the rest of his life because of this.
It's the biggest thing he ever, merchandising thing he ever did. He did a lot. He did a lot of other books. He did a lot of other cool stuff. His work is still. There was a Westworld a few years ago. They're still adapting him. There's going to be another Jurassic Park movie in a couple months. He's still making money, and he's been dead for years. So I'm sure that he had to pick which mansion he wanted to die in.
I was gonna say, I'm assuming he got all kinds of money for that.
Oh,
and it was just, he could have quit working after Jurassic Park, but he didn't. That's why I respect him. He kept working. He kept writing.
It's hard to take the desire to write out of a writer.
Right.
And one of Steven Spielberg's favorite dinosaurs was Triceratops. And because I forgot to mention, in the novel I think there was supposed to be a 6 Stegosaurus in the novel, but in the film they replaced it with a Triceratops because it's one of Spielberg's favorite dinosaurs.
Spielberg actually said that Triceratops was the first big word he ever learned as a child. Yeah,
and Alan Grant did mention, he says that's what his favorite when he was a kid. That was actually like a reference to Spielberg.
Mm-hmm. Actually, something just occurred to me. You know what other popular dinosaur related things started in 1993?
What?
Power Rangers.
Wow.
Yep.
I'm not really a Power Ranger guy.
But that they're all they're themed after dinosaurs, and they have giant dinosaur robots. Same year.
Yeah.
Haim Saban knew what he was doing. There's a reason Zyuranger became the first.
So I want to talk about some lost, deleted scenes that have been lost, and some deleted sketch art and some scenes that they didn't make it into the film. I did remember there was one deleted storyboards scene that there was supposed to be a baby Triceratops. They did do a big giant mold sketch of him by Stan Winston's people, but it never made it into the film. But in the storyboard, they say that when Alan Grant and the kids were trying to make it to the visitor center, and they ran into a baby Triceratops in the long grass, and I think the baby Triceratops just knocked Alex. What's her name?
Lex.
Lex.
Yeah.
She knocked down Lex. The baby Triceratops just knocked her behind. It was just, she goes in the air and it collapses on the ground. It's like, I think the baby Triceratops was just doing it for fun.
Because it's got little horns and it poked her in the bum.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Baby Triceratopses are still like the size of a large dog. Like they're babies in name only. They're huge.
Well, they're babies relatively speaking.
Yes, this is true.
And
just like Minya's like 100 feet tall. But,
yeah. and there was also, I think there was supposed to be original ending for the raptor scene of the visitor center. Like in the film, they when the Alan and when Alan and the kids and were surrounded by the raptors, and and when the raptor jumps out, the T-Rex appeared, and he just fight the raptors, and then did this victory war with the sign coming down. Now, the original scene for that was supposed to be like when the people are on the dinosaur bones, and then when the raptor jumps on it and he just breaks in half. But one of the raptors just caught into the T-Rex's skull's mouth, and it just fell and crushed it to death.
Yeah, it was going to die by the skeleton, which they do still have. One of them still gets killed in the skeleton, but they changed it because they realized it's like the T-Rex is going to be an icon. The T-Rex is going to be a hero. We need to bring the T-Rex back.
Yeah, and then, and the audience will be like,
the audience won't care. That was Spielberg's philosophy. It's like, if I can get the audience and keep them all the way to the end, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah,
I can blow the shark up with an air tank.
Yeah, fine. I can almost any movie that he's made, that philosophy plays, especially his blockbusters, like that plays into it very, very much. The idea that I don't know, it borders on almost Eastern, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like tokusatsu in a way where it's like, who cares about the physics? Who cares about the realism? Who cares? It's a beautiful moment. It's a big moment. It's a movie. Just go enjoy it.
Yeah, he brought that up. I'm trying to remember who was it that was actually raising logical objections. Was it Crichton?
It was. Oh, you're talking about
was it one of the special effects guys? Because he asked him.
I think it was Mirren. I think it was Dennis Mirren.
Was it Mirren? Okay, because he asked him, was like, "Oh, let's have the T-Rex. Can we make the T-Rex show up at the end of the movie?" And
there's no wall. How to get in there? Yeah,
like a storyteller. And it was Mirren. Mirren is like,
I think it was Dennis.
How does I was like, how's the T-Rex going to get through the door? Like, he's thinking about the logistics of it. And
they were trying to figure out how to get the T-Rex in, because they realized they have a huge empty wall that is still sit outside.
It might have been David Koepp, the writer, but I think it was Mirren, because he was trying to figure out how to, like, okay, we already have the entire set mapped out. Like, there's no, like, how did the dinosaur get in there? And I think that's actually something that, didn't they like put a hole in the wall in the back of the same building in Jurassic World, just to kind of like for one shot or something, to like explain it, because the Indominus gets in the same way.
The Indominus Rex is a kaiju. It's got more superpowers than Superman.
Yes. But it's
a hybrid.
It's Spielberg's ethos right there. It's just like, we don't care. This is a slight tangent, but I just recently sat and watched Sanshiro Sugata, Akira Kurosawa's first film. And there's a beautiful moment in the movie where the lead character is petulantly in the middle of a pond, in the middle of a cold night in Japan, because he's trying to prove to his master that he would die for him, and he's being very obstinate, and he's holding on for dear life to this pole so he doesn't slip into the water and drown, and he won't come out of the water, and it's freezing cold, and he could die. And he has this enlightenment moment where he's slipping out of consciousness, and he looks up and he sees a lotus flower blooming in the moonlight, and he has this moment where he realizes what a fool he's been, and he crawls out of the lake and begs for forgiveness, and the movie continues. Now, when the movie came out, there was criticism about this, because lotus flowers do not bloom at night. They bloom under sunlight. It's literally impossible for a lotus flower to bloom at night. And Kurosawa basically said, and there's a quote, and I don't remember what the exact quote was, but the effect of it was, "I'm not trying to make reality. I'm trying to make something poetic and beautiful that people will remember, that proves a point. My point is not physics. My point is storytelling." And I think that having a T-Rex materialize in the middle of a building with no clear way for it to get in there is Spielberg's lotus flower moment, where he basically says, hey, it doesn't matter. Just go with it. And it's one of the best endings to any movie ever made.
We'll never forget when dinosaurs rule the earth sign is dropping down in front of the T-Rex. That was like the best shot.
It's one of the best shots ever.
Yeah, well, and just the way that whole sequence is composed. You know, the last raptor gets caught by the T-Rex, thrown into the rest of the bones. So it's the living things destroying the replicas of the originals, basically. And then the T-Rex roars because it wins, and then the banner falls down. And it's the banner says when dinosaurs ruled the earth, which is kind of this symbolic gesture saying like, well, now they rule it again. Also, that phrase is the title of a dinosaur movie from the 70s. So that's a nice little Easter egg there. It's kind of perfect, to be honest.
It's one of perfect moments in films are rare and beautiful things, and this is one of them. This is absolutely one of them.
Yeah, and there was some art sketches, and I wish they could have put this in the film, but there was a Jurassic Park visitors lodge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, besides the visitor center, there was a visitors lodge. It's kind of like when there's like a little village with cabins and.
I hope they had reinforced walls. That's all I'm saying.
No,
you can actually stay at Jurassic Park.
I'm just saying the local wildlife is a little dangerous, so please, titanium walls.
It's just it even shows one of the sketches right here.
Mm-hmm. It was supposed to be a resort where people could just stay.
Yeah. Like the resort was in the process.
Yes, they were still building it.
Yeah, when I look at this sketch art, I mean, I'm like so amazed by it, and I just wish they could have put this in the film, and it looks like a beautiful resort area.
I don't think
only do so much.
I don't know if there was anywhere organically to slip that moment in. It's such a tightly put together film, but if maybe they could have driven past it or something on their tour or something like that. It'd be cool to see that brought to life. There's a worker village. There are a couple of worker villages that show up in other films. The Trespasser video game has a worker village you can navigate and find fun things in, but no lodge. No lodge. They should do that. You know how all the sequels eventually take things from the novels and deleted concepts from the movies and sneak them in? The river chase scene from the first book is supposed to be in Rebirth. They should just do that and put the lodge in for the next time.
Well, they can't really do that in Rebirth, though.
No, they can't do it in Rebirth, but they can do it the next time, like Jurassic Park 14, where they decide to make the park again.
Again.
Well, actually, you know what they would do now, since now the dinosaurs are off the island and roaming free and everywhere. They could just put a lodge in a mountain that has dinosaurs.
Jurassic Park Airbnb.
There you go. Can you imagine? That listing? It was stay at the Triceratops Lodge. Wild Triceratops wander through every morning.
Good Lord, Dilophosaur Falls. Come see real Dilophosaurs eat real humans. Let's hope it's not you. It could be your family next. That's $200 a night.
Come stay for dinner.
Yeah. Oh my.
Yeah,
God.
that would be cool if they would add that to the film, and there was a rumor that there was some rooms that are like hotel rooms that are inside the visitor center in the upper level, but it's just a rumor.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't know.
Yeah,
I would definitely love to explore that place. And it kind of exists in Florida still. They basically built the visitor center in Florida. I'll talk about that more when we get to the theme park section. But yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and also I want to talk about the one scene that is a cool effect of the lawyer on the toilet who just lived to the air, and before they add the T-Rex CGI to it. Yeah, I would say that effect just looks weird. They just add wires to the lawyer. He was so lit in the air, like he was eaten by the T-Rex. He just grabbed the lawyer off the toilet.
What a way to go!
He wasn't even using it; he was just hiding there.
No, I was gonna say, if they lifted him up off the toilet and his pants were down, it would have been rated R. No, the bitey scene is a Harryhausen reference. Rhedosaur.
Yeah.
The cop. Yeah, there are a lot of Harryhausenisms in this. We'll get there, but that's the first one that we've hit so far. Is the T-Rex picking the guy up is like when the Rhedosaur picked up the cop, and then so many great Harryhausen moments of dinosaurs picking people up and shaking them around like dogs, and the T-Rex does the same thing. And Harryhausen did get to see the preliminary CGI for this and was thoroughly impressed. They invited him to see it all happen, and he was like, "This is amazing."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean,
Jurassic Park was yet another turning point for special effects.
It's one of those.
It's one of those pivotal moments in the history of special effects.
Yeah.
There's everything before Jurassic Park and there's everything after.
Yeah, and also like I know that that Lex, the little girl who was like screaming at T-Rex. I mean, she was like I think the crew thought it was her screaming too much, but the actress who played Lex, I mean, she was fine of screaming. I mean, a lot on it when they're filming.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she did like, I think she did like some, I don't know if this is true, but I think she does some practice screams from Fay Ray herself when she visited the set. That she's from the original King Kong. But I don't know.
This little girl getting screaming lessons from Fay Ray. It just sounds wonderfully. It sounds wonderfully funny and endearing at the same time.
But in the original King Kong, Antero screams at Kong a lot.
I know, that's my point. So can you imagine? It's like, okay, little missy, let me tell you how you scream really well when the monster comes.
Now listen here, dearie. Like I could hear that. Well, she should have been in her 80s at that point. So she was, yeah. Listen here. I thought the monkey was gonna be Cary Grant, but he wasn't. Imagine my shock.
But look at that Ian fella.
Oh, look
also. And let me tell you guys this. You guys are gonna hear this funny story. Like when they're filming the scene where the T-Rex and the Jeep, when he was looking in the car with the kids inside, while they're filming this, when they put fake rain on the animatronic in the car, when they're filming that, the T-Rex animatronics start to shake when they're filming it.
It shorted out.
Yeah.
The water messed with it. Yeah, the hydraulics. Yeah,
and then Stan Winston's team just said stop the rain. They had to dry with the towels quickly, and then yeah, it was. Yeah,
a mighty T-Rex defeated by rain.
Yeah.
It's not the first time that something falling out of the sky killed a T-Rex.
Yeah, and they actually split the T-Rex animatronic in half to a separate body parts, like for the legs when it's on the Jeep, to crush down, and yeah, it was.
I honestly think that the T-Rex scene is the best example of the kinds of special effects that this movie has. Like everything is in there. It is a perfect marriage of the practical and the digital. It's the best marriage of practical and digital of any film ever, potentially.
Yeah.
Like we're not talking about like a blending in one moment where like mocap. I'm not talking like mocap where it's the same thing kind of at once in the same shot. I'm talking about a shot where it cuts from pixels to puppet to pixels. You can tell because humans aren't stupid. We can tell the difference. But the integration is so carefully thought out and implemented. It's not so much that you can't detect that a switch is happening. Of course you can. But I fully believe that I am looking at the same animal in both different shots. Still to this day, I fully believe that I'm looking at the same creature. When it cuts from, I don't think about it cutting from the CGI model to the animatronic. It's the same T-Rex because they made sure they moved the same way, and they made sure that the rain was hitting the scales in the same way, and the lighting was the same. The attention to detail is insane. I actually was just recently rewatching some Harryhausen stuff, and Dennis Muren is interviewed in this documentary. Special effects titan, Ray Harryhausen, special effects titan, for anybody who's interested. And he was talking about how back then they spent a year and a half doing every movie. Like Jurassic Park CG took, a long time to do, and now they do like 10 movies a year. And so that attention to detail, where they make sure that the digital puppet moves the same as the physical puppet, they just don't have the ability or the time or the budget to do that anymore. It also very much helps that a lot of the CGI for the Rex was driven by a stop motion puppet plugged into a computer.
I was going to say that.
I was going to say it's the same thing.
I was going to say that is one of the brilliant things about, because I've heard a lot of people say, it's like, man, Jurassic Park was basically the first big CGI movie. I mean, it wasn't the first movie with CGI, but it was the first big CGI movie.
Yeah.
And it looks remarkably good now when other movies from the same era look terrible. I think it's partly because they started with thinking they were going to do stop motion with Phil Tippett, and then ILM said, "Hey, Spielberg, check out CGI," and he's like, "That's how we're doing it." And Phil Tippett's like, "Well, I'm extinct."
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up about the CGI and stop motion. Yeah, they were going to have stop motion dinosaurs for this film, but the crew just looked back to some early CGI films like Terminator 2. That's how the CGI all started, and they wanted to CGI dinosaurs to make them look realistic.
Yeah, but they still kept Tippett on and said, "Okay, do the what was his special
Go motion?
Go motion. I was trying to remember what that was. So he was originally going to do go motion, but they still had him do the stop motion stuff. But then they layered the CGI on top of his animation, which is why it looks so good.
Yeah. It moved like a stop motion puppet. It was animated by human hands in a way that there's just nobody would do that now. And I don't think it was done much after that either. It was almost a consolation. It's like consolation tech, because after this Tippett, long story, but he was depressed. But it works. The film still to this day looks beautiful. It looked beautiful then, and it looks beautiful now. And because of course it does.
And they actually did a test for the CGI. They just record outside of Hawaii. In an open village of Hawaii. They actually filmed it, and they put a CGI T-Rex, so walking around just searching for food. And next they added the Gallimimus in with the T-Rex, and they tested that first, and it worked perfectly. And it's just they actually added to the film.
Yeah. I think it took until the advent of mocap before CGI looked that good again.
I would say it probably took about 10 more years.
Yeah. When mocap was much more of a thing.
Yeah. I mean, mocap had some growing pains, and then by the time you get to Fellowship of the Ring, it's pretty on point. And then I still think it peaked at the time with Jackson's Kong, and then with the newer Apes films. I don't think, and then Avatar, obviously, stuff like that. I just don't think it looks any better. I think that's as amazing as it gets. And when you take your time, it looks good. Jurassic Park is 32 years old, and it still looks gorgeous. King Kong is 20 this year, and it looks better than most stuff in theaters right now, CGI wise. It's amazing what happens when you actually give your artists time, and you get passionate people who want to do something new and exciting, and it's not just a turntable sludge pipe. Just let people be artists, for crying out loud.
And Yeah, and they use some animatronic suitmation for the raptors.
Yeah, there's a little bit of suitmation in this. It's so crazy.
Oh my gosh! I mean, I just spotted something like the one scene when the raptor was opening the kitchen door. It was after he opened it with his head like opens all the way in. When the camera shot almost goes towards to the kids, if you look carefully at the raptor by the door, if you look right where his tail is, if you look carefully when the camera's moving, you can see a hand appear that put on the raptor's tail, and it's just lifted down, and it's just
Oops.
it was putting on it was like pushing the raptor's tail down, and it was like almost like he's trying to lift his upper body up.
Yeah. Can we talk about the brilliance of that joke where the immediate scene before that, someone says, "Oh, no, they'll be fine unless they learn how to open a door."
That's brilliant.
And
I can open a door. I've seen videos of cats figuring out how to open doors. Of course, a raptor can figure this out.
The human race is in danger. The cats are coming for us.
And you know that the scene where we know some scenes were shot in Hawaii, but some of the scenes that are not filmed in Hawaii are the scene where the T-Rex attacking the two Jeeps, and the scene where the kids and Al Grant are watching the Brachiosaurus view, and when the Brachiosaurus is eating the plants. Yeah. That was actually filmed in the studio.
Yeah, those are sets. Okay. Those are sets that they built. Yeah, big tree, all that stuff. A lot of it was open air, which was really, really cool, but a lot of it was interior jungle sets that they constructed, which is they're just beautiful. I mean, that big tree is lovely.
Yeah. They originally wanted to film in Costa Rica, but that was cost prohibitive, which is too bad because that's where the novel. It's where it actually is supposed to be taking place, off the coast of Costa Rica.
And let me tell you guys, I mean, that scene when the Alan Grant and the kids are watching the Brachiosaurus sing at night with the beautiful little sunlight behind the trees, and then when the Brachiosaurus is singing, I love that moment. It's so beautiful.
It's and then it sneezes on them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about the night part before the morning. Yeah, it was
one of my favorite shots.
Yeah, mine too. It's almost like a relaxing moment, especially the Tree for My Bed theme, John Williams theme, pops up, and I just love it. It's like a relaxing theme.
It's like a lullaby. It's the lowering action, because we've just been shown. This film does a beautiful job of balancing out the terror with the awe. The first time we see a dinosaur in the movie is a terrifying moment. You don't see the dinosaur, you don't see the raptor fully, but something scary happens and a guy the guy gets pulled into the cave. And then of course the next thing we see is the brachiosaur in that beautiful moment. And then after that, we have, it's balanced out, right? Because we have the terrifying raptor bit where it eats the cows, even though we don't see it. And then we have the Triceratops, which is a moment of awe. We have
well, it's also sick, but
yeah, we have two dinosaurs that are sick: the Brachiosaurus and the Triceratops,
which is brilliant because without saying it, what the movie is telling us is that these animals, like, we don't know how to take care of them, right? This is a zoo, and they're like, the great moment about eventually we're going to have dinosaurs on the dinosaur tour. Like, they don't know how to get them to come to see visitors. They don't know how to properly treat them. Like the scientist there who's has a bigger part in the book, actually, the doctor with the mustache who's helping the Triceratops. That guy, that's amazing, Kim. That's amazing.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know why the trike is sick. And then Ellie Sattler shows up, and since she's a botanist and she knows her way around plants, she's able to at least theoretically diagnose this dinosaur, but the actual staff of the island doesn't know what's wrong with this animal. And that does not bode well. This movie is sprinkled with little moments of the people running it just being completely inept. And we're like, well, we don't know what's wrong with it. This dinosaur is sick. The brachiosaur has a cold. The triceratops is eating food that its system literally can't like process.
Yeah. And they're having babies.
They're having babies.
Yeah. Even though they shouldn't.
Yes.
Yeah. And there are huge piles of their droppings.
Well, that was going to happen regardless. The actress who played Sattler, by the way, I said that for years afterward. Little kids would come running up to her and said, "You're the lady who played with dinosaur poop."
Like, yeah,
she did mention in the making.
The lovely Laura Dern, who's just wonderful in this film. She's so great. The whole cast. I know we'll get there, but like the cast.
The cast is fantastic. They're not like major, like huge Hollywood stars, which was by design. Spielberg didn't want to get like big Hollywood stars. He wanted people like who
Jeff
were more
Goldblum.
naturalistic. Yeah, I mean, and so it was, like Jeff Goldblum was well known, but he wasn't like a mega star.
He was more like these guys. These were all these guys were all character actors more than anything else. But it's great. But anyway, the transition between scary. We're in awe of the dinosaurs. We're scared of the dinosaurs. We're in awe of the dinosaurs. Whoa, that T-Rex almost ate a bunch of children. Whoa, that Dilophosaur just ate Newman from Seinfeld. Oh, no.
Yeah.
And then we have the Brachiosaur scene.
No,
Jerry. And then the freaking Brachiosaur shows up, and it's this beautiful, quiet moment of them craning their heads up. So,
okay.
In the distance.
I'm going to bring this up very briefly because I know it's a potentially dangerous topic because I used to listen to Kaiju Weekly and I know what this could do to people.
But this no. Come on, don't do that.
I don't think the Jurassic Park dinosaurs are kaiju, but they are weird. But the T-Rex in particular is far more aggressive than it should be and a lot hungrier than it should be.
It's like any dinosaur in a Harryhausen movie. It just wants to kill. Like, there's no logic, there's no biology. The dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, the carnivores, are perpetually hungry for you. That is what they want. It makes no biological sense. It's like a lion. A lion can eat like a freaking gazelle and then be fine for days. No, T-Rex just wants to murder. The velociraptors just ate. Like, they just ate. They don't need it. They're hungry. The movie says they're hungry. They're hungry.
Yeah, I'm just saying, for a movie that says like, oh, we're trying to be as realistic as possible. They're not monsters. They're animals. They are weirdly aggressive, sir. They're very hungry all the time.
They are movie monsters. Like they're not accurate to real dinosaurs, which is a stupid discussion that we don't need to get into. But they're not they're not accurate. They're hypervores. They eat everything that they see. They're half frog.
Maybe that's why. Like the frogs just make them needlessly aggressive.
When in doubt, always blame the frogs.
Always blame the frogs.
Always blame
for
the
sure.
frogs.
But like I said, the Indominus and the Indoraptor.
And I know, and I figure why they that one scene that you just mentioned, they produce eggs, and Alan Grant and the kids are discovered dinosaur eggs, and because what we learned as some frogs can reproduce asexually, like they change sex from male to female. And
yeah, I looked that up.
Parthenogenesis is the word you want.
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember what species of frogs do that. I'll let me check my podcast notes.
It's like something from New Jersey. I don't remember.
Blame the frogs.
Hashtag blame the frogs. That's funny. It's like some weird frog from New Jersey. It's just like, Kim
is from New Jersey.
Kim has maybe seen the weird asexual frogs. Maybe she knows. Maybe she knows more than we do. Maybe there's like a zoo in New Jersey that we don't know anything. Like, she has all the answers. I don't know. But honestly, I don't remember the name of the frog, but I can tell you that whiptail lizards do this as well. Whiptail lizards are parthenogenic, and oh goodness, where is he? You know who else is parthenogenic?
Godzilla.
Your mom.
Yeah. Oh. Wow, I'm gonna tell her you said that. No, I'm gonna tell.
Oh, is that like the embryo T-Rex figure?
Yeah, this is the no, it's the Hammond collection T-Rex.
Yeah, I want to buy that someday, and
He's
if
real good.
Yeah, you were actually you were basically reading my notes, Danny. Yeah, because the African frog, whiptail lizard,
and guys, if I buy that figure online, I will definitely do an unboxing video on it. If I do buy it, like, please don't tell my girlfriend that I bought a dinosaur or monster figure, because she doesn't like it when I buy these toys.
Because I talk to your girlfriend every day.
Your secret is safe with us, sir.
Nice try, Nathan.
It's a joke, sir.
I can neither confirm nor deny. Okay, Kim is keeping the asexual frog info close to the chest. I don't blame her.
Yeah, with
it's probably for the best to keep it to the chest. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm a poet, didn't even realize it.
Yeah, my note here also says parthenogenesis has also been observed in Komodo dragons.
Yes, it has.
Which look like dinosaurs.
Yes. Don't tell Marion Cooper.
And so
man.
So let's talk about the film location that Jurassic Park was filming in Hawaii. It's one of the islands, and
if you need an exotic island location, use Hawaii, which is also an island.
Yeah, they actually did have a location in Hawaii. They actually put a Jurassic Park logo sign in the area where they filmed the Gallimimus scene.
Yeah. Because Hawaii was Jurassic Park and it was Skull Island twice.
Wow.
It's been a few islands.
Yeah. I was gonna say, because 2 King Kong movies were filmed in Hawaii.
It's gorgeous though. It's gorgeous.
It is a beautiful place.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go one of these days. It's on my list of places to go one day.
And guys, I wish I want to go to Hawaii someday, and I never been to Hawaii because my parents have on their honeymoon.
I recommend it. It's really, really awesome there.
Yeah.
I
think my parents took a trip to Hawaii when my mom was pregnant for me. I don't think that counts though.
You were there, kind of.
Yeah, and
I haven't seen this place since I was a zygote.
And
put that on a T-shirt.
I will.
And they're actually filming the new live action Lilo and Stitch there right now.
It's because it's supposed to take place in Hawaii.
Yeah,
that actually makes sense. Like that would actually.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. I don't remember a lot of valleys in that movie.
I was gonna say, can you bet? It's like, hey guys, we're gonna do a live action remake of Lilo and Stitch that takes place in Hawaii, right? Right. That's why we're gonna film it in New Zealand.
Nyamanya Krista.
Don't use bad language on the stream, please. Ladies.
Yeah, but yeah, I have a friend of mine who is a fan of Lilo and Stitch, and it's like if she wants to go to Hawaii, she wants to see the location where they film Lilo and Stitch. If I go with her, I would say to her, I recommend I would go to every area that they filmed Jurassic Park.
Oh, there you go.
I don't remember the name of the valley specifically where they did the Gallimimus shot, but that's the big one. That's where they filmed. It's so funny to me because you look at that scene, which is also where they went back and filmed the Jurassic World there as well. That mountain range, the big green plains. Now if you go there, there's a giant gorilla skull in the middle of all of it because that was the Kong grave in Kong Skull Island.
Oh, so 3 Kong movies have been filmed.
And they left the bones, so you can just go hang out with giant gorilla bones and just.
You know what? I'm totally doing that.
Do it. Do it.
Hey, go. Hey, guess what, guys? We're gonna go visit the giant monkey graveyard.
It's there. The skull is still there. There's a giant triceratops skull that's barely visible in the movie, but it's like got one shot. So there are technically dinosaurs on Skull Island. Don't let anybody tell you differently. It's a thing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
you know the one scene when the storm comes in, and the lawyer says, "Doctors, if you please, I have to assist we get moving." And when the storm came, it was like when they filmed those shots of the waves. That is actually a real hurricane that hit Hawaii, and
Category 5 to boot too.
And all the crew had to go stay in the hotel, and then all the power went out.
You know what's my favorite story about that though?
What?
Attenborough, who plays Hammond, slept through the whole thing.
He had no idea what was happening.
He had no idea there was a hurricane going. He slept through the whole thing. And Stephen, when he got up afterward, and they were like, "You missed the hurricanes." There was a hurricane. He's like, "Yeah, how did you?" I was like, "How'd you sleep through it?" I was like, "Oh, I survived the blitz."
I survived the blitz.
That's it. He just left it at that.
And I gotta say, Richard Attenborough, who played John Hammond, did an amazing job as playing the character.
He's just like he's everybody's grandpa. That's what
They took evil Walt Disney from the book and they made him Grandpa Dino, and like
Grandpa Dino.
Everybody loves him. He's so lovable. Attenborough has this magical quality to his roles. Anything he ever did ever, he just has this magnetism that makes you just kind of want to go tell him about your day, you know. Just like, I had a hard day today, Mr. Attenborough, and you could trust him to just be like, it's okay, like everything will be all right.
Didn't he play Santa Claus too?
Yeah, when they played Miracle on 34th Street.
I was gonna say, I know I've seen him elsewhere, and I'm trying to remember what he's like. That's the kind of guy you want to be Santa Claus.
Yeah, when I saw 34th Street, I mean, when I saw this, I mean, during Christmas time, I mean, I thought, hey, it's John Hammond.
There he is, and he looks the same. Like that's the
yeah. Actually, you know what we need now? We need a crossover between these movies, because Santa and dinosaurs, baby.
I'm sure that exists.
Hear me out. Santa and dinosaurs.
Don't tell the Sci-Fi Channel. They're already taking notes.
And I think there was a rumor that I think when Spielberg and the crew were find some perfect casting, I think Spielberg, before he cast Richard Attenborough as John Hammond, I think he was gonna have this guy who was in Hook, who played Toodles.
Yeah. That's right. And the little, what's his name? The little boy who played Tim auditioned for a Hook as well. And
oh, really? Didn't
get the role. And Steven Spielberg said, "Don't worry, I've got another idea in the back of my head for another movie. I'll call you."
Well, there you go. Hey, Brendan, can you highlight Kim's new comment?
This is a good one.
John Hammond says, "Spread no expense." Yeah, that's like his catchphrase.
6 times.
Yeah, he
got paid $1 million for every time he said it too.
He says a lot in the film. That's like his catchphrase, like spread no expense.
Spare no expense.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I love that. It's like one of those memorable things that it comes back, and I think the last time he says it is like darkly ironic too, because it's the melting ice cream.
Yeah,
and it's like all this food is just dying in front of them because the refrigerators are out and the freezers are out. And
there's a lot of really memorable lines actually in this whole movie. You have it's like, your scientists were so preoccupied with whether they could, they didn't stop and think about whether they should. You know? And must go faster and hold on to your butts, which comes back.
Yeah,
Kong Skull Island.
Because of course it did. Because of
course it did. Yeah.
Yeah. Samuel Jackson in this.
Samuel L. Jackson. Because this was kind of at the point he was starting to get popular. I think he made this movie before he really became a star.
Yeah.
Because he's a supporting character in this. And we don't even see him die on screen. We just know he dies.
He died because of the raptors.
Which we find out later.
Yeah, because his arm because his bloody arm came off.
Yeah. And then I'm trying to think, what are some of the other? Oh, well, you brought up the one with Nedry. It's like, see, no one cares. And
well, I mean,
and then the other meme-tastic one is, well, that's a pileup.
I mean, we haven't mentioned the line. The line.
Life finds a way.
Yes.
You got to get the
The is
Well,
important.
guys,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
Jeff Goldblum and his iconic uhs.
yeah. Well,
Life
there it is.
finds a way.
Well, there it is.
Wow.
Guys,
Well,
I'm
there it
just listen, guys. I'm just saying that life finds a way.
Yeah, and you got to do the. I mean, honestly, his entire speech that he gives in the presentation room about just the folly of what's happening, where the really like that's the moment where the gloves come off, and he's talking about the complete folly of what's happening, and it's so good. It's such a great line.
You know, another one that I like is he has an exchange with Sattler where he goes through like the whole history of like everything. God creates dinosaurs. God destroys dinosaurs. God creates man. Man destroys God. Man creates dinosaurs. And then Sattler says, dinosaurs eat man. Woman inherits the earth.
And they all just give her. I love how they look at her confused, and then Grant just smiles like he's almost like he's heard this before. Like I love that moment. The moment where Malcolm's attempting to explain chaos theory to Ellie.
It's like the nerdiest. I was gonna say that's like the nerdiest flirting session I have ever seen.
It was. Listen. It was working, and you can't.
It was
working.
It's only because one super nerd was using it on another super nerd. If this had been anyone else.
It's like, listen, like when Ian Malcolm tries to demonstrate the nerdiest thing possible on the back of a woman.
Yeah, the water scene, the way it was.
Yeah,
there's been down. Yeah,
when he does it, it's charming. When I do it, they throw me out of the bar. Like I don't get the double standard, but whatever. Like,
yeah, when I was a kid, when I was watching this, like I don't get it.
Well, listen, I didn't completely understand what he was doing as a kid either, but the more I started paying attention to his dialogue and like how he was talking about chaos and entropy and the unpredictability of systems failing, where it's like all these tiny little things that you can't account for, the little wrinkles and the hairs on the back of your hand will make the water go in unpredictable patterns as it rolls off your hand. And that's what we see happen in the movie. Her hand is a microcosm for what happens in this movie.
Is it?
Yes, it actually
because the reason the park fails has
all
nothing
the systems
is because of human greed.
Well, it fails. Yeah, but at the same time, all of the systems that they had faith in, that they thought they could predict because of the greed, failed them in ways they couldn't predict.
It's because Nedry sabotaged everything.
Yeah, listen,
that was very controlled.
That was the variation.
The control is he's knocking over the first domino, and then it just lets it go.
He's the unaccounted for variation. He's the hair on the back of the hand that they didn't account for. That's what the point of that is. I'm not making this up. This is
guys.
The movie is telegraphing it.
Guys, I don't know if you saw what I just did, but I just kind of did.
Look at all that Ian Malcolm charm right there.
Yeah, and look at it.
Now you just got to look at the camera and go.
There's some water like just dripped right that way, and look, and there's some still water drips on me.
I think we should all unbutton our shirts, gentlemen. Hold on.
Oh God.
Or not. God. How about we don't?
It's so.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, that was fair. It's actually kind of weird to remember that there is a shirtless Malcolm scene in this.
Oh movie yeah, it was
because when you see the memes, you don't immediately remember. Oh wait, that's Jurassic Park.
Yeah, because when he had the injured leg.
Yes, remind me to thank John for a lovely weekend. Another good line. They think they'll have that on the tour? Another good line. What do they got in there? King Kong? Another good line. He had all the best lines.
Yeah, and Malcolm does have all the best lines.
He had all the best lines.
So we all know some of the cast and crew. I mean, I want to talk about so I want to know if we get to the next subject. Do you want to talk about the games, the ride, or the dinosaurs?
Let's do the ride. Let's talk about the ride and the whole I'm down with that.
Yeah, I would say I want to talk. So when Michael Crichton went to Spielberg, and direct this movie, he also wanted to make the ride at the same time. He has so many ideas for this novel before it was published. He was suggesting the ride before the film came out. I mean, but the ride was open like after the film. It came out in Universal Studios Hollywood in 1996, which I realized that ride was actually my birth ride.
Yes, it would be. That's cool. That's really cool.
I don't know when did it open, on which month. Speaking of, you know that in 6 more days it will be my birthday.
6 more days.
Yep, my birthday's coming up next week.
Yes, mine is too. So we're getting close.
Yeah,
my little brother's birthday is this weekend.
Man, a lot of February babies. That's awesome.
That your birthday was the day before me.
Is that true? You're born the
The 24th.
4th. I'm the 5th, the 25th. So I'm a day
Wow.
after. And then
and then my brother Jared's is the 22nd.
There you go. And my mom's is the 20th in 2 days. So we've got a lot of February baby energy.
And what famous person was also born on the 22nd?
What?
It stinks. I'm just kidding. He was born the 20th.
Well,
Joel Hodgson was born the 20th.
Well, he's wonderful too. No, George Washington.
George Washington, yes.
Oh.
Yes. And the GNP turns 7 on the 22nd. That's kind of cool. Who else can I'm just making things up now. Who else can it doesn't matter. So anyway, that's your birth ride.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then it was put in Universal Studios Hollywood in 1996. Then at Islands of Adventure in the year 2000.
I think 99 or 2000.
I think 99 or 2000. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was Islands of Adventure came later, and it was the flat. So for anybody who doesn't know what the heck we're talking about, so Islands of Adventure. At the time, it's a little weird now because they've kept adding things that don't quite fit in. But Islands of Adventure is essentially a theme park in the shape of a big ring. Interestingly enough, and as you traverse this ring, you go through different worlds. There's a Dr. Seuss world. There's a Marvel world, which is still there, weirdly enough.
Yeah, which Disney owns the Marvel films,
but the license is still with Universal for the theme park. Same thing with the Simpsons, which is why there's a Simpsons land at Universal. And when that expires, they'll probably have to tear it down, unfortunately. But Marvel Superhero Island is still there. Seuss Landing is still there. There's an entire section dedicated to, of all things, comic strip characters like Beetle Bailey and like Popeye and interesting. I'm into that. I might be the only person who thinks that's cool. But
I find
Harry Potter. I just didn't know it existed.
Yeah, the Lost Continent, which has now been usurped by Harry Potter. Basically, the Lost Continent barely exists anymore, which is too bad. It was basically like walking into a Harryhausen movie set with crumbled props and statues and Greek stuff. It's cool. But at the very end of this thing was an entire Jurassic Park world modeled after the original park. And to this day, it's still there. Because in the reason I bring this up is because in California,
oh my God, Donnie Winter,
Donnie Winter, there he is. I don't see clapping for Donnie.
Yeah, we gotta have Donnie back on the show.
There we go, clapping.
Yeah,
for
long time no see.
I've got Donnie slated for another podcast episode. So,
you have a podcast? That's wild. Yeah, you should tell me the name of your podcast. I'd love to listen to it sometime.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anyway,
hope y'all are well. I'm well. I'm well. Are we well? I think we're well. I think we're doing well.
The gang is all here.
I would pay to see Kim and Donnie just do that live. Like, I just find that so wonderful. I love them.
I wish we could. I wish that could happen at G Fest this year, but sad.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, let's get back to the ride. I mean, we all know the Islands of Adventures has different areas. The Harry Potter, some of the landmarks, the Dr. Seuss, the Marvels, and as a kid when I went to Islands of Adventure, like I think 2003 or 4.
Where is Island of Adventure? Is that Florida?
Yes. that is part of the Universal Orlando Resort.
Got it.
It's one of 3 areas, soon to be 4, because they're building Epic Universe, and it opens in a few months. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was a kid, as I mentioned in 2003 and 2004, when I was a kid going to Islands of Adventure, I just got so excited. I want to go to the Jurassic Park area so badly because it's one of my favorite. And when I went through the gate after we passed through the cartoon comic area, that's Popeye, and yeah, I went through the gates. It makes me feel like I'm in the movie.
It's so immersive. The music plays as you walk under the arch. The torches are actually burning.
Yeah.
As a kid, that was magic.
Yeah, it looks so real. I'll never forget when I visited the visitor center, which is called the Discovery Center, and
yes,
I'll never forget that moment. I was inside. It's like it has used the actual prop from the film.
Yeah, the dinosaur skeletons on display were the ones from the movie that got velociraptored. Yes, which I didn't know when I was a kid, and I realized years later that I was standing underneath the real ones, and I was like, God, if I'd have known.
Yeah, and they have some cool areas in the visitor center, like that's like some dinosaur statues, animatronics. You could just move around with the pipes things, and
you used to be able to blow into them too to make dinosaur noises. I think they actually, the last time I was there was in 2011, quite a while ago, and they had like plastered over the viewport because you used to be able to look through these binoculars like almost like a periscope, like you were looking through the dinosaur's eyes, and you could like blow into it, like, and it would deepen the noise, and it would come out the dinosaur's mouth, and it would be lower like a bellow. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna sound like a nerd, but
did you get to look through the T-Rex eyes when it eats the lawyer?
I wish. Brendan, were you there when the baby dinosaur hatched out of the egg?
Yes, I was there. I went to see the baby raptor hatch, and
so cool.
Yeah, it was a great experience seeing the raptor hatching. It's like from the film, and I remember in
Are they born with teeth?
Yes.
and
yes. And I remember in 2015 when I actually 10 years ago, last time when I visited the visitor center, when I watched the baby raptor hatch, I think some of the shells were missing, and you see the animatronic baby raptor like moving like up and down, but when he was hatching out, it was just lifting up like.
That poor robot got a little janky after 30 years of hatching out of the same egg over and over again.
Yeah.
I will never forget. So there was an interactive section where you could scan dinosaur eggs, like scan. It wasn't a real scanner, but the idea was like you could pick up these dinosaur eggs and put them in these little boxes, and you passed a scanner over it to see what kind of embryo was inside. Is this a Diplodocus? Is this a T-Rex? What is this? And you couldn't take it was basically it's behind glass, and there was a slit in the glass just big enough to put your hands in to grab the egg, but you couldn't take the egg out, or otherwise people would have stolen the eggs. But I remember picking up this egg, and like as a kid, I know it's fake, but I'm totally immersed, and I pick it up, and I felt it slosh. Like there was something on the inside of this egg that was very clearly soft and moving and bumping against the shell as I moved it, and it felt for all the world like a real egg with a real something in it. And I had a moment where I was like, X-Files, I want to believe this is a real dinosaur egg so bad. I miss that. I hope that's
as I was mentioning, when in 2015, when I saw the baby raptor hatching, when the tour guide has suggestion from the audience, including me, suggested give it a name, and I was raising my hand, and they picked me, so I named the baby velociraptor, and then later they gave me a little certificate, like a little graduation something, and I actually named the baby raptor Chomper.
Okay.
From Land Before Time.
I understood that reference. Yeah, that's right. I understood that.
Yeah, and honestly,
start what?
He's here.
When they gave me the certificate, like But I see they spelled my name wrong.
Oh, rats.
Darn it.
Well, it was
No.
close.
But still, it's still pretty cool. Listen, when I met Tommy Wiseau, he signed my copy of The Room and spelled my name wrong, and it made it better, so that he spelled my name wrong. So I still think that's pretty cool. I didn't know they gave out certificates for people who named the raptor. That's really cool.
Yeah,
yeah. I
And-
never got to name the raptor.
Now Danny is sitting here thinking, like, I gotta come up with a really good name.
and
Othniel.
there was also like a little,
Amadeus.
and there's also like a little question game in this one area that is like a dino game thing. That is like a question, like a little show and I remember they show some like dino clips like from classic films and everything, and Land Before Time and the original, and then other ones like including the original Lost World. But in 2011, when I went there during my teenage years, when I was going down the stairs, I saw the game show they had clips of dinosaurs. I was so surprised they show a clip from King Kong versus Godzilla. That scene when those two are destroying the building at the end.
Cool. Which
That's
makes
wild.
which makes sense, because if you think about it, Lost World, public domain, Land Before Time, and King Kong versus Godzilla, both Universal films. So
Yeah.
they can legally show that footage, and Toho can't say no ho, which is quite nice.
Yeah. And now let's never forget the little area where you get to meet Mr. DNA on screen.
Yes, yeah, which was different when I was there. I'm sure they've updated it since, but you could. I remember they had a little section, and he would, pardon me, he would help you make a dinosaur. When I was there as a kid, you could actually scan your face, and they would put your face on a dinosaur, and it looked really disturbing, like deeply, horribly I was looking at other people doing it, and my dad was like, "You want to do this?" And I saw all the results of people putting their faces like warped and weirdly blended into dinosaur bodies. And I looked at Dad and I said, "No, I don't want to do this. I won't be able to sleep tonight, Father." And he was like, "That was a surprisingly mature answer, son. You're 7, but we won't do that."
Unholy abomination.
So, it was special. It was inspired quite a few interesting dinosaur themed dreams that night.
Yeah.
Nightmares rather. But okay, here's a blast from the past. So I know we're probably going to talk about the river adventure here, but when I was younger, and it didn't last that long, I have to talk about this. Brendan, during any of your visits, did the Triceratops encounter exist?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I mean, in 2003 and 2004, and the Triceratops encounter still exists. And sadly, I think in 2011 they tore it down, and then later in 2015 when I visited, they actually have a raptor encounter.
Yes. So that to me, so the entire area was actually, the way we're describing it is incredibly exciting, but in terms of actual attractions, it was rather sparse. There was the visitor center, the Discovery Center. There was a paragliding style kind of hanging roller coaster styled after pteranodons, where you could glide.
Yeah,
kids. It wasn't very intense.
Camp Jurassic.
Yes, Camp Jurassic.
I love playing that area. It's so amazing.
It was fun. And then they had my favorite, which was the Triceratops encounter. You wound your way into the jungle through all these huts while people dressed like Jurassic Park employees were explaining what you were going to see. And you get to this room, and oh my God, there's a Triceratops, and it's huge. It's the size of a freaking dump truck, and it was an animatronic, and it was a pretty freaking advanced animatronic for the time. It could actually lift at least one or two of its legs up, so it wasn't bolted to the ground completely, which was very unique. The head could move all the way around. It opened and closed its mouth. It had bad breath. There was moisture coming out of its eyes. Like, they went the full 9 yards with this thing.
Yeah, it makes it look realistic.
It is the most real I had ever seen a dinosaur in my life. And again, I knew what I was looking at was a technological marvel, but I just kind of didn't care. I put on my Spielberg glasses. I just didn't care. It was a real dinosaur. And it was just like the movie, except this one wasn't sick and pooping everywhere. But
Take that, you dinosaur.
Hi, please don't. Oh no, that's so much poop. Oh no. But no, it was just a magical moment. You could actually pet it. You could pet the face and the beak.
Yeah.
Lightly. And there were 3 animatronics, and each of them had a different name. I don't recall their names, but I remember dragging my parents through this thing. We just went on loop through this thing a few times, and I think I saw 2, if not 3, of the Triceratopses. And at the gift shop in the visitor center, they had a replica of this Triceratops, this like a rubber toy. It was about this big. And that was my gift. Like Mom said, I'm going to get you something from here. What do you want? I said, I want that darn Triceratops. And he rode on my lap on the airplane home. He was my baby Triceratops. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Danny, I have to ask one very important question.
Please.
Did the trike nuzzle you?
I nuzzled it. Does that count?
Yes.
I wasn't allowed back in Florida after that. Long story.
The Triceratops put a restraining order on you.
The Triceratops turned into Mr. Richfield from Dinosaurs, and he was just like, "Don't let him back in Florida." He turned into Sherman Hemsley and yelled at me. It was really weird. But I want to say the next time it was like this one-time thing for me. It was like this magical thing. I went back to Universal a few years later, and the darn trail was closed. And I'm like, I know it was here. I almost had a panic attack as a kid. I was like, did I imagine that I met this Triceratops? Did I imagine this?
You were Mandela affected an entire
Mandela
dinosaur.
affected this dinosaur. I'm like, I got the toy at home. I know I did this. And I looked behind the rope, and I'm like, okay, there's the trail. It's closed, but it's there. And I always wondered, if they closed it, are those dinosaurs still back there? Like, did they just leave the robots to rot away? And then years later, I found out, yes, they did.
I was waiting for. So I snuck past the gate.
I did not sneak past but somebody else did, like Adam the Woo, or one of those guys that they're famous for breaking into theme parks that are closed off. And he filmed the broken down, dilapidated, skinless Triceratopses, and one of them was decapitated.
No.
And, like, I'm watching part of my childhood just like wither. It was funny.
No.
Like I'm being dramatic, but like it was very strange to see. And I'm like, I pet that Triceratops, and it's like its head was just there, and then the body has no head. And then a few years later, they tore the whole shebang down. They put in a raptor encounter, as Brendan said, and they actually used most of the real estate for the Velocicoaster, which is there now.
Yeah, because I'm not a fan of those loop-de-loop roller coasters.
Yeah, I'm not a roller coaster.
Oh, I know. I love those. But
you can have it.
Yeah, well, okay, fine then. But I was just sitting there thinking, it's like Danny's watching it, and be like, "Oh no, the Triceratops that I saw as a kid. That's so sad." That's what you get for putting a restraining order on me.
Not allowed back in Florida.
So let's talk about the actual ride.
The actual ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is from 2016 at Hollywood. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, that's me with the long beard.
Oh yeah.
That was before I think that was in the same year that I started having my own YouTube channel before the podcast.
Oh, that's really cool. That was a momentous year. You almost got eaten by a T-Rex, and then you were on YouTube. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Some would say those are the same things.
Oh, not on this. I feel like there are
Come at me, Google. Come at me, Google. What are you gonna do about it?
I mean, I lied. There is one T-Rex.
I mean, it was. I remember going on this ride at Islands of Adventure was a great experience growing up as a kid, and it was like I'm actually riding the movie, and then. I remember I was a little scared when we entered the Raptor containment area in front of this big building. I think you should call it a warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
I think
there's a hole in the side of the container, and it's like, oh god, no, the Raptors. One of them's wiggling around.
Yeah, and then one of them is in the building, including the Dilophosaurus, which they actually sprayed you with water.
It does spit on you. There's actually, I don't know if it's the one in Florida or the one in California or both, but there is a secret Dilophosaur at the end that pops up. And
that's the one in Hollywood.
Yeah, and then there's one in the ride as you're going up that will spit at you, and then there's a secret one at the end in Hollywood. Okay, that's right, and that gets you as you're about to get off the boat. The Parasaurolophus that comes out of the water is like unintentionally terrifying. Like it's like a docile creature, but it's just like you can kind of see it under the water as you're getting close, and you're like, okay, this thing's gonna pop up, and then it pops up and it goes, and it
because it knocks your boat off port.
Yes, it shoots water out of its nostrils at you, which is special. And then the rest of it's just a nightmare where you're on this boat and it's gradually taking you up a mechanical ramp, and there are raptors trying to get you, and you know that T-Rex is
in the building. And I don't get about that weird warehouse building or all the vicious carnivores and the Dilophosaurus and especially the T-Rex at the end by the escape hatch, and he just appeared out of nowhere.
Yeah, the T-Rex, I'm going to try and demonstrate this. So for people who've never been on this ride, the T-Rex like comes out of nowhere and it's right over your boat, and it bends down and gets within inches of you and tries to bite you. And at that point, your boat goes down a giant incline, which is where your picture was taken, and it slides down and splashes into the water. But right before you do that, you see this T-Rex just come out and reach down, and it's an animatronic, and it's life-sized, and it feels very real, and it just wants to kill, because that's what it does.
Yeah.
And it's just terrifying. And as a kid, first time I went, I chickened out. I wanted to get on this ride, but I'm like, I don't want to do it because the big drop scared me. And then I would hear people scream at the top of this thing before the drop even came. And I was like, what did they see? And I'm looking at the brochure, and it's like, okay, here's a picture of people in a raft with a T-Rex. Oh, there's a T-Rex up there. And it almost ate those guys. And then they had to do this to get away. They got to go straight to no. So like 7-year-old me was not into that. So I
I actually joined that. And around 2013, when I visited to Islands of Adventure, around 2013, I remember at night I was at Florida with my mom. It was just me and my mom, and we would go to Islands of Adventure. She told me I could go on the Jurassic Park ride. I went on the first time with my mom, and then I went on it 2 times by myself. I think one of them, I was like the only one on the boat, no one else.
Oh no, that's got to be fun, but also
I'll never forget that.
That's a good memory.
I was on the ride by myself, no people around me, next to me on the boat, not even the back or front.
Wow.
I think I was in the middle of the boat. Or I was on front. I don't know.
Yeah. I had to take it.
What you don't realize, Brendan, is that because you were the only one there, that was a real T-Rex.
Yeah. When I got to the T-Rex part, like when I got to when the T-Rex appeared out of nowhere, you know what I did?
Scream bloody murder.
I actually
Peed your pants.
Guys, let's let me finish. As when I'm gonna meet you guys.
I didn't say anything.
But anyway, when I was on this ride by myself and no one else around me, when we got to the T-Rex part, when the T-Rex appeared out of nowhere, I didn't scream or panic or anything. I just stayed still like this.
Because he saw the movie.
Yeah, I just stayed still like this. I did not move a single muscle.
And it worked because you're here right now to tell us the story.
Yeah, don't you remember in the movie, it's the T-Rex only see you when you're moving based on movement.
I just said you did it because you saw the movie.
Yeah, because when it escaped, I was like, it didn't see me because it's based off movement.
Didn't see you. You were safe. You survived. You survived the scene from the book that they didn't put in the movie until just now.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'll forget that.
That's a great memory. That is a really great memory. It's such an interesting section, and I would love to go back if I ever get a budget for it. I'd love to go back because, and this is the last thing I'll say, is the California version, as you said mentioned before, has been rethemed to Jurassic World. We've repainted all of the kind of reds and tans of the original into the kind of blues and like very dull grays that coordinate with the Jurassic World IP branding. That's a very dull kind of a feeling. So you go over there and like the building is different. They kept a lot of the animatronics, but the ride itself is different there because there's now a screen with a mosasaur. They put the Indominus in there.
The Indominus Rex, and
which is a freaking kaiju. I'll say it again.
You keep rolling your eyes whenever I mention
because it's not a dinosaur, it's a kaiju.
Is it?
Yeah,
you're a kaiju.
It is.
I should call it a hybrid.
It's a kaiju.
Yeah. And and the last point when you're entering the building, which is called T-Rex Kingdom. I mean, and then when after you go down the waterfall, like the one room where they had all the pipes and everything, they actually replaced it with a dark jungle theme with blue and the Dilophosaurus, and of course with the big animatronic the Indominus Rex. And then the T-Rex appeared out of nowhere. Then the Indominus Rex just turns and look at the T-Rex, and
it's interesting. They recontextualized the original ride's assets without tearing all of it out. The piping area now looks like a jungle. The Velociraptor containment area is now like a generic predators have escaped zone. It's kind of interesting, but the track layout is the same. They ripped out a lot of the initial jungle, but the same Stegosaurus mother and the baby are still there. I think the Brachiosaur is still there. The Parasaurolophus is still there. Like they kept all the old, like 30-year-old animatronics, and I love that they're still there, even though they look really, they look kind of broken. They're looking a little Five Nights at Freddy's
dinosaurs.
Seriously, look up images of the Brachiosaur. It looks like it has scoliosis. Like this poor thing is just.
And I know the one in Islands of Adventure still exists of the original ride, and
I love that.
When I heard that they were gonna update Jurassic Park the ride at Hollywood to World, I was afraid if they were gonna place the T-Rex animatronic with the Indominus Rex, but they didn't. They didn't.
They did both. They kept both. The Indominus comes out and spooks you a little bit beforehand, and the Rex, they just kept the same Rex. He comes out of nowhere, he roars, he tries to get you, and then you go down the chute. So they preserved it pretty well. Some of the new stuff feels a little shoehorned in. The aesthetics don't quite match, and those I love that the original animatronics are still there, but they are almost 30 years old, and the Rex still looks good. Some of them don't look as good, but I like that. I don't want them to change it. I'm really glad that the one in Florida hasn't been Jurassic World in. It's still park. It still has the park theme. All the signage is still there. It's still Jurassic Park, and I know that they're eventually going to probably rip that out too and put in world stuff, but for now you can actually go visit Jurassic Park as it was pretty much in 1996 when it opened, or 2000 when it opened, with the exception of a couple of new things they've thrown in. They tore out the Triceratops thing. They put in the Velocicoaster. You can meet actors in suits who wander around in dinosaur costumes, and they're really good. Like the suits are really good. The blue encounter is terrifying. He's behind or she is behind a gate, and then you take photos, and then she'll nip at you. And I was very happy to see this. A few years ago, they had some walk around dinosaurs too, and they had a walk around Triceratops, which is definitely like two people in a horse suit style creature. But it's got a big head, and it wanders around on four legs, and it's on a leash basically. And it's like it's almost like they brought the Triceratops encounter back, but now he walks now. So I was happy to see that. That made my childhood inner self very happy. But yeah, go see this stuff. Definitely, if you can go down to Florida and go see it, I mean, if you live closer, it's easier, but you have to have the budget. Like I don't have the budget to go down to Florida, but I'd love to go and see it at least one more time and see some old favorites like the ET ride.
Yeah.
What's that?
So we already talked about the original novel, the filmmaking, and the ride. So let's quickly get to the arcade game, the one by Sega. Yeah, the one by Sega, not the Lost World arcade game, but the original one by Sega of the actual film, the one with the joysticks and it has the seat moving. I love that game. I mean, before that, it was my favorite arcade game of all time was the Lost World shooting game, which I'll explain to that in the next episode. I remember playing the Jurassic Park arcade game. I remember playing it as a kid, which it doesn't no longer exist, but it used to be at my local Chuck E. Cheese restaurant. You could only find this game at Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, it was in some arcades, and it was in a couple of pizzerias. And then, like Brendan, when you and I were we're only a few years apart. When you and I were growing up, it was pretty much just Chuck E. Cheese and like maybe like the last couple of Showbiz pizzas on the planet before they all got Chuck E. Cheesed.
I was to say that was they were the same.
Yeah, I love that game so much. I mean, it's like you get to shoot the dinosaurs and the seats moving. It feels like you're in a Jeep. It's almost like a game ride.
Basically, yeah. And it's insane.
It actually took place after the events of Jurassic Park, before the Lost World.
Yeah, you got to go back and like round up the dinosaurs. And it's ridiculous because you're moving at breakneck pace in this game. You are like, there's no time to breathe. It's frenetic as all get out. And what you're doing is you're essentially tranking the dinosaurs. You're knocking them out so that helicopters can take them away.
Oh, okay. I have played this game.
For all the world, it looks like you're just shooting them.
And that game is almost like it's taken out of Fallen Kingdom, which is before
A little bit. I think the best part of that is where you're on a motorcycle and you just drive up a brachiosaur.
Actually, a Jeep.
Start at the tail and go. I remember that part from the movie. That was a great part where Alan Grant just drives a motorcycle up.
That was not in the film. It's just they put it in the game.
Nothing in this game was in the film. Could you imagine a movie? That's probably going to be the next movie.
Yeah, when the motorcycle. I was saying, like you mentioned,
Jurassic World Part 5. Motorcycles up brachiosaurs.
Like I was saying what I'm trying to say is like when in the game when the Jeep goes up and the brachiosaurus is back, like start with the tail, then the head flies off, and almost give it like a little bit of a Flintstone feeling to it, like like yabba dabba doo.
It's like hardcore yabba. This guy was like yabba dabba doing it hardcore. Like this guy was crazy. It's like if Arnold Schwarzenegger was playing Fred Flintstone. It's like, that would be
yabba dabba doo.
Yeah, like a little too intense. But it's very fun. It's a very frenetic game, and it was one of like 8 million games they put out.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite games at my local Chuck E. Cheese, which is no longer exists, along with my other favorite of the Pinball Machine by East Data.
That's a good one. I've never played that one. I know it exists out there in a couple of arcades. I think Galloping Ghost has one in Chicago, but I might be wrong. I don't know.
I love the wallpaper of the Pinball Machine as the T-Rex and like this, and I drew fan art drawing almost inspired by the wallpaper of the Pinball Machine. Really cool.
I see. I can kind of see it.
Yeah.
Oh, now I can see it a little bit better. Okay, that's awesome.
Yep. Yeah, it's almost like an improvisation of it.
I love that.
I think the Pinball Machine. What got me discover this film? I remember playing it in Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri, at this resort called Lone Oak Point Resort. I remember, but that game is no longer there.
Nah.
It was only there when I was like I was like 3 or 4 years old.
Mm.
It was around when that pinball machine was around that resort.
Which is so still to this day. This is very funny. I'm not a big mall person. I don't go to malls. I know, shocking. But my local mall, that's where I go see my movies. It's a theater built into the mall. So I'll go down there, and every once in a while, if I'm feeling a little I want to go wander around, I'll go downstairs, I'll go to the FYE and see if they've got Godzilla stuff. And they have a couple of maybe 1 or 2 stores in there I'll go into, and they have this toy shop in there, and it's mostly plushies these days, but they do have some dinosaur stuff. And I mention this because in order to get to it, you got to crisscross and go down all these hallways. And at the tail end of one of these hallways, right before you get to this store, right in the middle of the hallway is a Jurassic Park arcade shooter cabinet. And it's not the original, it's a newer one. And it's one of those ones that's like, it's really big. You get into it, you get in the chair. It's like an experience.
Is it the one made by Raw Thrills?
Potentially. I don't have a good working knowledge of all the Jurassic Park arcade cabinets, but it might be. It's a newer. It's from me. It's been there for like 10 or 15 years.
Okay, maybe not, then it's probably not the Raw Thrills.
Okay. I'm not next.
Probably not. But they've made some. Raw Thrills makes a lot of newer arcade machines.
Yeah.
They made one for Kong that's like, it's a sit down shooter. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Then it is not that one. This one's a little older than that.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of in the hallway at it's not in an arcade. It's just in the hallway at my mall. And I've never used it, but I keep walking past it and going, one day Jurassic Park arcade, one day. And
what you don't realize is after you beat the game and you get out, a T-Rex will come down and try to eat you, and then the floor will give out.
Well, we can't have that. That's like a bad time. You know what'll happen is I'll finally play it, and then I'll come by. The next time it'll be gone. Like, it'll just be gone.
You scared it away.
Away. It's like I used it, and then right after that, the place makes the decision to like dump it in the trash. Kim she left a comment here about the Toys R Us T-Rex at Times Square. Does anybody else? You guys know what she's talking about? Because there's
don't know.
So I really wish I'd gotten to go, but in the 2000s, there was a Toys R Us, a 3-story Times Square Toys R Us, right down the street from FAO Schwartz. It was prime real estate, giant glass windows. It was like the flagship Toys R Us. And on the, second floor, they had this giant animatronic T-Rex that they would always put the Jurassic Park stuff next to. And it roared, and it was really cool. It was really, really cool. And it was clearly modeled after the Jurassic Park T-Rex. And they unfortunately, the place was never profitable. It was just way too big, and the real estate was too expensive. So they closed it down like 12 years later. And sorry, Kim, they actually had to take a wall out to put the T-Rex in there. And then when they moved out, they didn't want to take the wall out to take the T-Rex out. So they may have destroyed it with sledgehammers. They destroyed it. And I'm not happy about that. But they broke the T-Rex, and then they didn't even try to save it. Yeah. Sorry, Kim.
And wow, it's been 2 hours and 37 minutes, and
it has. We have to talk about the dinosaurs.
Yeah, that's the last thing. We'll talk about the dinosaurs quickly. So one of my favorite dinosaurs of all time is the T-Rex, and alongside with the raptors. And I would say it's been years since Jurassic Park came out. I mean, in a lot of years that there have been some new dinosaur films came out, and then they redesigned some dinosaur looks, and then in the real world they made the dinosaur fossils. They use computer graphics on the real life fossils that we have now. That they actually put skin texture on it. They didn't make it look like from the actual film. It's like scientists redesigned those the fossils that had skin on it to make it look like an actual living animal than it was in the film. Because and they add some lips on the T-Rex and in the real world. Well, in the film, the T-Rex's teeth are almost like jogging out.
Yeah, it's a little bit more like a crocodile, where
Yeah.
the teeth don't, where the teeth doesn't sit perfectly.
You've got a bit of a buck tooth thing going on there.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
T-Rex
You want to hear?
definitely has lips.
You want to hear my wow? You want to hear my dinosaur hot take?
These look better than real dinosaurs.
Besides that,
I was close. Okay.
I think one raptor can take out a T-Rex.
One of these raptors can take out this T-Rex. Okay.
Because
Yeah.
I remember seeing a documentary as a kid where they actually said that a claw slash from a raptor, and you see in the movie they have the one really big toe claw that has a wider radius, a wider damage radius than a T-Rex jaws.
Don't listen to the
So
bad- don't listen to the bad man.
basically, one raptor could theoretically charge at a T-Rex, get under it, and slash its belly open.
Well, that's impossible.
Dead and dinner for months, or for the whole pack.
Technically possible, but I mean, remember the whale god? Remember that poor bozo that tried to slash the whale and he got dragged under? It's possible he killed it at the end. Spoiler for the movie from the 1960s. But it's just possible. That's possible.
Yeah. I want to talk about the raptors, and I know the raptors we have, the skeletons we have, the velociraptors in real life, they're actually the size of dogs.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. For as good a researcher as Michael Crichton is, he goofed that up.
Yeah, I want to tell you guys this. I mean,
he got two species mixed up.
Yeah, easy mistake.
Yeah, and I like the real velociraptor. They're
Utah raptor, I think is.
Deinonychus.
Oh yeah, because
Deinonychus. Oh, is it Deinonychus?
Deinonychus.
Yeah, Spielberg almost based on those raptors by the Deinonychus, but while they're filming, they actually found a skeleton that's like a raptor giant looking called the Utahraptor.
Yeah, that's what
Spielberg based on So Spielberg based on the velociraptors with the Utahraptor.
Yeah, it's Utahraptor or Deinonychus because the actual velociraptor, they're about the size of chickens.
Yeah, and also velociraptors also has feathers.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's what they think now. I think at the time when they made the movie, they hadn't, that theory wasn't around yet, which is why in the newer movies they put feathers on the dinosaurs and they actually account for it by saying like, oh yeah, this is based on newer research, but people like the old stuff.
Yeah, and then
I like the raptors, the velociraptors in this movie are pretty much pure fiction. On every level, design wise, they're closer to a Deinonychus. Practically, they don't have the right like skin or feathers, and they clearly weren't that smart. I mean, the third film insinuates that they may have been at the level of very simple primates in terms of their intelligence. That's not true.
They were also going to make a Jurassic Park sequel where they mounted guns on the things.
That's coming. I know it is. You can't tell me they're not going to make dinosaurs with freaking lasers on them.
I would watch the snot out of that.
I'd watch it. It's dumb. I'd watch it. I mean, it's a thing. What do you think? Yeah. Okay. She agrees. So the raptor, like, but who cares? Like the dinosaur, like there's an argument to be made that a lot of the animals in this are animals. The velociraptors are movie monsters. They just
I mean the velociraptors in real life. I thought when I studied them that I thought that they're almost like bird-like. I mean, they're almost like related to birds.
They're more birds are a kind of dinosaur. They're the only dinosaur that
I know it in the film.
In the film,
Alan Grant says, "Look at the humor ball. Yeah, turn backward, just like a bird."
Just like a bird. And in the 90s, that was a new theory. That was a huge new thing. I'm old enough to remember when that was proposed for the first time. This very interesting theory that dinosaurs and birds might be related. I mean, I probably came to the party a little late, but I remember it being discussed, because I was that kid who was getting new issues of National Geographic, and reading through them, and they were talking about hip bones and birds and dinosaurs and like they were showing charts and like, okay, here's the inside of a bird, here's the inside of a dinosaur. It's the same thing. And if you look at a lot of modern reconstructions, raptors in particular and a lot of theropods look more like birds now than they do like a Jurassic Park dinosaur.
Well, the name raptor was originally applied to birds before it was those dinosaurs, because that's what they call birds of prey. They're called raptors.
They're called raptors.
Yeah,
more like a 6-foot turkey, as Kim might say.
Yeah.
You gotta throw that one up there. That's another great quote from the movie.
Yeah. And also
from a dumb kid. Oh, that doesn't look so scary. It's like a 6-foot turkey. And then that's when he gets this where it's like, well, the claw on this could rip your stomach open.
Yes. They're alive when they start to eat you. I'm going to try to hide my New Zealand accent, but it's not going to work. But I'm Sam Neill, and it doesn't matter.
And also the Dilophosaurus in the film, I know I mentioned this for the novel part. I mean, the Dilophosaurus in the film, they just made it small, and they actually give the Dilophosaurus some fins, like some thrills, like kind of like one of those lizards had.
Yeah,
I mean,
red lizard, yeah.
But that was just made up in the film.
Or if you really want to get nerdy, like Jurassic. But
yeah, but in the novel, and the Dilophosaurus in real life is supposed to be bigger, and it has no like scales of fins like on the neck. It's just
Dilos in real life are like the size of like a house, like a half a house. They're pretty big, and it's so funny to me because every single dollar store you go into on planet Earth with the dollar dinosaur toys, all the Dilophosaurs have the stinking frill, because everybody just kind of goes along with it. Every dinosaur toy on the planet, every Dilophosaur dinosaur toy has the stinking Jurassic neck frill on it now, which is completely fictitious. Now, at the time, Dilophosaur did have these weird, unusual pits in its neck, and I think a couple of bones that scientists weren't sure what those pits were for, and there was a theory that maybe they produced some kind of toxin. And they took that to an extreme level and fictionalized it in the film with the frill.
Well, and it spits venom.
And they took it, and that it's been now clearly Dilos in real life did not do that.
Yeah,
I have a soft spot for Dilophosaurus. Like I'm basically a giant child, and I still have favorite dinosaurs. Sue me. And the Dilophosaur might be my favorite creature in the film. Just because the sequence is amazing. The fact that it's pretty much all a puppet is amazing. It's a beautiful design. The frill is very scary. That's another scene that I did a lot of this of when I was watching it as a kid, because I didn't know what happened to Newman, and not seeing it is worse. Like, not because I invented all these crazy things that dinosaur was doing to poor Newman, that didn't happen in real life. But he's sitting in the car, he's screaming, and I'm like, oh, he's dead. I don't want to see what's happening. And then I watched it, and I'm like, oh, you can't see it. You can see nothing. I was hiding from nothing. I felt silly, but the Dilo is great. A creature that hasn't really been represented that much outside of Jurassic Park.
It
was in a documentary I watched on repeat as a child. Here's a for some people out there, this might be a core memory unlocked. When Dinosaurs Roamed America on the Discovery Channel. Maybe just maybe somebody out there might have seen that. Narrated by John Goodman, of all people. I mean, he was Fred Flintstone, so it makes sense. That was topical at the time. People would have gotten the joke. But the Dilo's in that, and that helped me appreciate it as an animal and not just a movie monster. But I love the Dilo in this film. I love it so much.
So the last thing I want to talk about, and I want to talk about the score for this by John Williams. I love the complete soundtrack for this film. John Williams did an amazing job for this, especially the theme during the credits and the ending. It was just beautiful.
Which he wanted to sound mythic and religious, weirdly enough.
Frequently played on my phone during
yeah.
Oh god, don't play it because
the copyright claim. But
I'm not playing anything. My hands are free. I know better. I'm no cat.
I was afraid to get copyrighted.
I would not do that to you.
It would take a little more than like
my phone's
3 seconds, but this was actually the first score that John Williams did for Spielberg, where Spielberg wasn't around to hear it live.
Wow,
which is kind of interesting because Spielberg was doing post-production on this movie remotely, I might add, which included working on the score while he was making Schindler's List. You want to talk about a pair of movies that would rip your brain in half trying to work on them at the same time.
The man has a gift. Like Spielberg has such an amazing brain. Like I don't know how else to say it. Like if you're ever interested in like how his brain works, look up some of the making of all things. Look up some of the making of Hook, because he originally had a completely different idea in his head for Hook, and like how Peter Pan like reclaimed his childhood, and he actually completely threw the idea out after he became a father in real life, and he had like responsibilities, and he's like, wow, for the first time in my life, I feel like I'm an adult. I'm not a kid who can just go do whatever he wants and make movies anymore. I have responsibilities. I have a child who loves me and needs me. And he said, I can't make this movie anymore the way I wanted to. I literally don't see the world the same way anymore. And so Hook changed significantly when he was ultimately brought on board. I think that's a really interesting insight into how he thinks. He said the same thing about Close Encounters. He said, like, you know, after I got married and had a family, I would never have made the end of Close Encounters the same way. And I won't spoil that for anybody who's never seen Close Encounters. Watch it, please. It is a gorgeous movie. It might be my favorite Spielberg film. But Jurassic Park and Schindler's List at the same time is... Now, clearly he didn't shoot them at the same time, but he was making one.
Like I said, he was doing post-production on Jurassic Park
he was making one
Schindler.
Making one and finishing the other.
Yeah.
And so he had to be in two different mindsets. He was like, you know, whimsical dinosaur sci-fi, you know, eco thriller, techno thriller, and then one of the most gut-wrenching films ever made in the history of film.
One of the most gut-wrenching historical dramas ever,
Ever. And the fact that he could flip-flop like that between those two extremes and still make them beautiful in their own respective ways really speaks to his power as an artist. But the score is transcendently beautiful.
Yeah,
it is,
and I still love the score to this day. And
it's John Williams. Everything John Williams touches is gold.
Golden baton.
I name a movie John Williams scored and tell me you don't remember the music.
I can't do it. I can't do it. It doesn't happen. It can't happen.
Well, I was gonna say, guys, I think we're just about that time.
I think so too. Almost 3 hours of.
I was gonna say, is this your record longest podcast?
I think so. Even longer than the King Kong podcast that we did last year.
No way. Really? That's crazy. Almost 3 hours. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, almost 3 hours. No kidding.
Dinosaurs, man.
Dinosaurs.
And we didn't even talk about the brachiosaur. Imagine if we had. We'd still be here. That's crazy. Yeah. Man, I think we did good, though. I think we did good. We paid tribute to, I'm going to say it, this is a masterpiece. Where's my finger? There it is. This is a masterpiece.
Yeah.
This is a masterpiece.
This is the best dinosaur film ever made.
It's arguably. And let's be honest, the franchise peaked with this.
I'm really glad, Kim.
You're welcome, really Kim. I'm glad we were able to do that for you.
Thank you, Kim. We love you too.
But you're very, very loved, Kim.
Yeah. But I know we're gonna sign off here in a moment, but because I know both of you will appreciate this, I wanted to make a little bit of an announcement tonight on the stream. I will be interviewing our mutual friend Alyssa Charpentier on Sunday on my YouTube channel.
Really?
Really?
Yes.
Ooh, what's the occasion? What are you going to be talking about?
Well, it's on my. It's not for the Film Vault. It's going to be on my YouTube channel. So we're going to be talking about writing and creativity.
Nice.
We're talking about the craft.
Oh, I'm really excited.
It will include a little bit of talk about Godzilla because that's her current project right now.
That's
Godzilla
where I was.
Strange
That's
Flesh.
kind of where I was leaning a little bit there. Like talking a little bit about Strange Flesh.
Yeah, so there will be a little bit of Godzilla talk, and I will I've asked for permission just to make sure it's okay. I've asked if I can share the audio of that interview on the podcast feed, and she has given permission. So with that, even though it will by no means be entirely a Godzilla conversation, but it's relevant.
Listen, if Alyssa's one of my favorite people on the planet, if her name is on it, I'll listen to it. It's not even a question. Sorry, Nate.
Yeah.
But
no, I don't. I understand.
Or I could just knock my tablet over it. I guess that's fine.
Yeah, there you go. But that will be on Sunday. I think it will be. I'm trying to remember. It'll either be 7 or 8 Eastern. I just need to set it up. But I wanted to make sure I told everybody because I know there are people who are in the audience who would be interested in that. So, be on the lookout for when I get that whole thing set up. Hopefully in the next couple of days.
And people out there need to go read her story that she's doing. She's writing a Godzilla story right now called Godzilla.
Yeah, I heard of it.
It's
on her Patreon. Yeah,
it's so good. I know things about it that nobody else knows. So, well, not nobody else, but I know things, and I'm not saying it's really good. It's gonna get better because it's really cool, and it's so cool that I'm dancing. Also, I'm really tired. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you for bringing that announcement, Nathan. So hope you all enjoyed this, and I'm glad I did this episode. It's one of my favorite dinosaur films of all time, and so the next episode will be the sequel, the Lost World, Jurassic Park from 1997, the year after my birth,
which has a very obvious Godzilla reference.
Yeah,
and a very obvious King Kong, 2 obvious King Kong references, several. And a Guanji reference. There's a lot of references.
And so hope you all enjoyed this. And Daniel, thank you so much for coming back on my channel on this episode. It's been a long time.
Too long, my friend. I have missed it tremendously. I have been the busiest I've ever been in my life the last 6 months. It has taken a huge toll on my brain and my body, and I'm not out of it yet. Long story. I'm still working through stuff, but I needed to just talk about dinosaurs with 2 friends. So thank you for inviting me. I'm glad I was able to make it.
You're welcome, Daniel. I mean, you've been like a brother to me and Nathan.
Oh man, thank you. And likewise.
Yeah.
Likewise.
And thank you guys for joining, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more Jurassic Park cast episodes coming soon. So don't miss out on the Lost World Jurassic Park podcast coming soon. So instead of saying sayonara or goodbye, let me just say this, that just in nature for podcasts, life finds a way.